Hello, how's it going, Naveen?
Hello, good. I'm really excited about today.
Me too. I'm really excited. I'm fucking tired, man. I was up all night last night. I mean, you saw me at like 7. You're like, man, you look tired. Go to bed.
And you're still working at 8, right? 8:30, maybe you left
I mean,
off
no, I was working until midnight.
midnight. Wow.
Yeah.
And you have
Uh,
a flight to catch, so that's
and I
great.
have a flight to catch. I had a bunch of big meetings this morning, but I'm so excited. Today is Opus 4.6 and GPT 5.3. We have been testing both models thoroughly for over a week. They're both really great models. We have some in-depth vibe checks that we've done on each individual model, and then we've gone head-to-head. Those are going to be live on Every very shortly. We are just finishing updating the copy for those pieces, but I'm just getting a status check. So that's going to come out soon. While it's coming out, I'm going to give you a preview of both models because I think we're all here for like which model's better for what, and we have your answers. If you're just getting here, I'm Dan Schipper. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Every. Every is the only subscription that you need to stay at the edge of AI. We have ideas, apps, and training as part of the offerings that we have. On the ideas side, we have a daily newsletter where we do vibe checks. We get early access to models like Opus 4.6 and GPT 5.3. And we do day of vibe checks to tell you what's useful and what's not, what's good and what's not from our hands-on testing. We also have a suite of apps that we give you. So we have Cora that helps you do your email with AI. We have Monologue, which is a smart dictation app. We have Sparkle, which is a file organizer. We have Spiral, which is an AI ghostwriter. Check those out. And we also do trainings. We do live streams like this one. Let's get into the actual good stuff. Subscribe to Every.to. If you want the full vibe check when it drops, please subscribe. Yeah, let's get into it. So let's start with my overall take. And I'm actually just going to like read you from a little bit of like what we wrote. We have a whole mini site coming on Every.to with all the head-to-heads and all that kind of stuff. But basically, like, what's really interesting about both these models is they're great models and they feel like they're converging. So on the Opus side, Opus 4.6 is definitely the best coding model that I've ever used in terms of the heights that it reaches. Like it did a few things that blew both of us, me and you and Naveen, away, right?
Yeah.
But it also is like has some kind of like annoying Claudisms where it does stuff that you don't expect and it kind of goes off the rails a little bit, it's weird. It's like both amazing and like, oh wow, that did something that I didn't really expect it to do. What it feels like a little bit is it's much more thoughtful. It's much better at just staying on a task for a long time and just like doing it. And it feels a little bit like Anthropic took the criticism of Opus versus Codex and put a little bit more Codex into Opus, like just a little bit more. It's much better at those long running tasks. It's an incredibly good coder, all that kind of stuff. The same thing for Codex. So Codex 5.3, we've been testing it as well. It's the same Codex that you love. If you're like a senior engineer like Naveen uses Codex every single day to build monologue. And 5.3 is really great, but it has a few twists that make it a little bit more like Opus. So Codex is much faster. Codex 5.3 is much faster, at least for me. It feels like a little bit of a friendlier model. Like it doesn't have as much of the roboticness and like just neckbeard senior engineer energy. It still has some of it, but it's less. So I feel like both models, if the models are over here, they're kind of like going like this a little bit. And it feels like both Anthropic and OpenAI have identified like a little bit of like what's the ideal like model to build, and they're both like kind of going in that direction. What do you think, Naveen?
Yeah. I have the same. I think we had this discussion, right, where Codex is like really good at those long horizon tasks, right? Like you can give it a task and it doesn't like, stop in the middle. It just keeps going. And with Opus 4.5, you have like this quick iteration but it doesn't like do the what do you say difficult tasks really well. But with 4.6 now I can say it's like okay, it can do the long horizon tasks, and it works almost the same as Codex now. So which is really interesting that both models are converging. I really like Codex because I can just throw a problem at it and then it keeps doing the work. And Opus is now able to do that now. So interesting.
I totally agree. And I want to take a break because we have I have another like take on, okay, what is the difference if you put a gun to our head and said like what is the actual difference? I have a take for you, but before we do that, I just want to make sure we were talking about these model drops. Very exciting, and in the midst of all of this excitement, all this energy, all this not sleeping, it's very important that you stay hydrated. Make sure that you're staying hydrated. Make sure that your agent is liquid cooled. Take a break. Take a drink of water.
Let me get mine.
Very important. Thank you. Thank you for that PSA. Thank you for listening to that. Naveen, it looks like you took a big drink, and that's where all of Naveen's productivity comes from. It's staying hydrated, folks.
Just have a 1.5 liter bottle with you.
Okay, so let's go back. So we talked about these models feel like they're converging a little bit. But what's like if you ask me gun to my head, like what's different about them, or how do they how can you think about what they're like? Opus 4.6 is, I think it has the highest ceiling and also the highest variance of the two models. So by highest ceiling, I mean it did something that like made us both go, holy shit, we've never seen a coding model do this. And 5.3 on extra high reasoning did not do it in the same setup. And I'll tell you about what that is in a second. So it has that high ceiling, it has that like gasp worthiness, and also it does some dumb stuff. Like it can like it has a new mode, a new thing that it does called adaptive thinking, where sometimes it doesn't think very much, and when it doesn't think very much, it kind of like it can confabulate, it can go do things that you didn't like ask it to do, that kind of thing. It's also like one thing that you'll notice about this model, which is really cool, is it's very parallel. So it just automatically spawns all these subagents, and I think that makes the floor of what it does like a little bit lower. Like it's less consistent because it can get a little bit out of control. On the flip side, Codex, I think GPT 5.3 Codex is it's a very good model, and it's also very consistent, but it's not going to reach the same heights as Opus, and it's not going to do the same dumb shit as Opus. It's just going to be very good. What do you think, Naveen?
Yeah, I agree. And I think even when I'm looking right now, I'm just going through the blog post that both posted, and it kind of like has the numbers, right? Like eval numbers that they have. Maybe we can also look at that to back this up. So which is really interesting.
Oh yeah, what are the numbers? Share your screen and go through the numbers.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen. So
and I think Simon Willison is going to join us. So I'm just going to grab the StreamYard. Cool.
So yeah, in the meantime, here you can see, 5.2 Codex is like really good at it, but you can see the sweep bench slowly increased. But the one thing I think when you mentioned, Dan, there's some vibe difference the way out Codex like outputs. I think it's maybe the output tokens it's using. It's really efficient as well. That way, it's fast. You mentioned like it's fast, right? That means the number of tokens it's using to come up with a solution is like low. So that's why we are getting like faster outputs from it. And terminal bench is like crazy high, 77. And
really interesting.
Coming to 4.6 Opus, here if you see like why like 5.2 Codex is like my go-to model, right? Here you can see why that is. Like it's kind of agentic coding is 59% according to their evals, at least 4.5. And then Codex is like around 65. But now Opus 4.5, not sure what the terminal bench. I think terminal bench is like around 77% now. So
interesting.
Yeah. So Opus is like going near to what Codex 5.2 did. So yeah.
That is really interesting. So we've got a special guest coming on the stream. Okay, pause button on the top right. I'm super excited to have him. We'll also have him tweet, but I'm just gonna add you to the stage. Simon Wilson, welcome.
Hello, hey, good to be here. Yeah,
Good to
today's a
have
bit
you.
wild. Like the two models came out within about 15 minutes of each other, right?
Right? I mean, like have a little thought for us poor model reviewers.
Right, absolutely. Oh dear, at least it's not. It was Meta released Llama 4 on the weekend, and I still haven't forgiven them for that. But
Oh my God.
yeah,
Well,
today's a busy day.
yeah, totally. I remember actually also GPT-5 and 4.1 came out on the same day. And so that was a very similar feeling for me.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, these two, I've had preview access to both of these for like a couple of weeks for the Codex one and a few days for the Claude one. And I'll be honest, I still can't tell the difference between them and the previous ones. Like it's getting so hard to analyze these things now. They're so good.
They are really good.
Throwing just absurdly difficult things at them, and they were doing it, and that's great. But it's like, how do I compare them if no matter what I throw at them, they just do the thing, So yeah, I'm finding that really difficult. I've got I'm having trouble getting a Pelican out of Codex 5.3 because it's not showing up for me in any of the interfaces. And I don't like testing against the preview models and then publishing the results because they change. Like I don't know for sure that the Codex 5.3 they released today is the same as the one I was playing with the other day.
Yeah, it's hard to know. So I gave you a tweet. Please hit retweet or quote tweet that so that we get people who are interested in your takes on here.
Yep.
And there should be, if you see on the top right, there should be a plus button to stream for your account if you want. But let's keep going with the takes. That's actually really interesting. I think that Naveen, you had a similar feeling that it's just hard to tell the difference between the two.
Yeah, I think I was talking with Dan where what should we test now? Like everything is like almost saturated. Whatever problem that we are throwing at both models are doing a great job at it. So now it's kind of our jobs to find these like niche problems and, trying to find the difference, what it is really good at. So, yeah.
Totally. Here's actually the thing that, so just Simon, for your benefit, our overall take, and this is coming out on Every very soon, but our overall take is the models are converging. Like it feels like Opus got a little bit more codexy, and Codex got a little bit more opusy, and they're not the same, but they're starting to converge a little bit. But if we had to like kind of pick like gun to our head, which is better, the overall take that we have right now is that Opus 4.6 has the highest ceiling of any coding model we've ever used. Like it did a couple things that made us totally gasp, and we've never seen any model do.
Okay.
And it's got a high variance. Like it also does dumb shit, basically, sometimes. Whereas Codex is smart, it's really fast, and it's much more consistent. So it's like consistently very good, but it's not going to reach the same heights.
Interesting.
And yeah, was that? How did that square with your experience?
What I've been doing, because I've been basically using them almost randomly in between each other, but partly just to avoid burning up my token allowance on one. If you've got both, you're less likely to run out of tokens. And yeah, I've certainly noticed that Codex, I'll fire it up for whatever the task is. Like I often have them do things like refactor my Git history to clean things up and so on, and it'll always just do exactly what I told it to do, which is great. What I'd love to see those examples of things that Opus did that made you gasp, because that's the problem I've had is I just haven't been able to find something where one of those models has just blown me, because Opus 4.5 and Codex 5.2 were already phenomenal models.
That's true.
Finding that incremental difference is getting so difficult.
I will set it up, and Naveen, you add some color if I'm missing anything. So the specific example that made us really gasp is Naveen builds Monologue. If you don't know Monologue, you should all know it. It's monologue.to. It's a smart dictation app. It's sort of like Whisperflow or Super Whisper. Naveen builds that all by himself. He mostly has built it with Codex, and he competes just with him with using these models with Super Whisper, Whisperflow, these companies with like huge amounts of employees and amounts of funding. And he's a real Codex guy. And one of the things he's been trying to do, if you're familiar with how these things work on iOS, is if you want to do a voice transcription app on iOS, you make a special keyboard for it, and basically when you activate the keyboard, in order to get it to start recording, you have to flip to the app, flip to the monologue app, and then flip back to the app you want to transcribe in, because Apple has all these restrictions around like who can record and when, and you have to record starting from a open app. Does that from an open monologue app? Does that about right, Naveen?
Yeah. So the main reason is keyboard extension doesn't have the microphone access. So to get the microphone access, you need to open the main app, keep it running in the background, and then you need to come back to the whatever app that you're using. So.
Exactly. And so Naveen has observed that some of the competitors have this thing where it automatically takes you back to the original app after you activate the transcription service. And he'd been kind of like working on it in the background for like 2 months, like trying to like sending codecs off and being like, okay, try to figure this out. And like over those months, because it was a hard problem, he was a little bit procrastinating on it, is what he told me. And over those months, he had kind of come to kind of the approach that he wanted to take, but hadn't been able to like actually get it built. So that's the setup. Like, I don't know when we got access to 4.6, but I think it was 2 nights ago. I was sitting in the office with Naveen, and Naveen was like, I've had this problem for a while. Do you want to try to fix it? And so I literally just monologued into Opus 4.6. Hey, we have this problem. Can you figure it out? And it one-shotted the solution. It built it. Naveen spent like a little bit of time massaging it and then pushed it, and now it's like a feature in the app. And I have no idea how the repo works. Like I just built the feature that he had been trying to build for forever. And what's really interesting is we did obviously the same test with 5.3 Codex.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. And it didn't work for a particular reason. It's not that Codex is like stupid or something. It's that Codex was extremely focused on the fact that doing something like this might run afoul of like the App Store security guidelines.
Oh no!
And it basically was like, you can't do this. Naveen, anything you want to add or anything that I'm missing there?
No. So just to look at go a little bit deep on what Opus 4.6 did and Claude Codex did. Here is that it did a really great research online. I think there's one big jump that I'm seeing from 4.5 to 4.6 is how well it's doing the web search online. So here it like found one of the competitors' changelog on App Store page.
Nice.
And found a solution. And then using GitHub CLI, it started searching the whole GitHub search. Is there like any open source code base around this? And then it found a solution, and then it just applied that. So, which is really interesting.
That's something I've noticed. I mean, I've noticed Codex do this in the past as well. The models are getting really good at looking things up in the code. Like I've seen them, if I've got like an HTML thing with a CDN link, they'll be like, oh, based on that CDN link, I should check out this GitHub repository to get the original code. It's amazing. But that the web fetch stuff is interesting as well, because Anthropic have upgraded their search at some point, and I don't think they told us about it, which is ridiculous, because like last year they were using Brave for search, and I always felt that was like OpenAI's big advantage is OpenAI had the Bing index and Anthropic just had the Brave index, and the Bing index had been around for longer. But I'm seeing such good results from web search on Anthropic now that I don't know, maybe Brave got really good. Maybe they're doing something else. OpenAI are running their own crawlers now, but again, they won't tell us how their search infrastructure works. So it's crazy. They're competing on search, but they won't tell us what they're doing. So how can we evaluate if we think it's working or not?
Yeah, so that like really blew me away, where Opus able to figure it out. But with Codex, on the other hand, what happened is it did the initial research and stuff, and then it's just like keep on looking the Apple review guidelines. Somehow it's like Opus didn't even care.
More ethical than Anthropic is quite fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what happened, at least with this. Same thing, like I've been hitting this particular issue with for past 2 months, right? I always kick off an agent, try to find a solution, and always get a similar result.
Question about this: did the models have the ability to test the code? Are they like running the iOS simulator and stuff like that?
It has Xcode build MCP, which I think Dan doesn't have it. Like at least I use it. It didn't. That's the interesting thing is usually for me, Opus 4.5 is not really good at Swift things. Maybe it's on web. It has like beautiful designs. It runs on the first try, but usually on Swift, I don't get it on first try. But at least this solution, it's a quite small diff change.
Yeah.
Like it's not 100 line, like, files. It's kind of 4 files it touched. It ran on the first try. So that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've definitely been able to use the iOS simulator with Claude Code and Codex, and it works okay. It doesn't work amazing because it's like taking screenshots, and then it's just very imprecise and slow, but it does work, and it can do end-to-end testing.
I wonder if that's going to be a useful place where we can identify the differences between the two. Is the screen, how good are they at interpreting screenshots? Which again, I mean, I don't think they're even publishing benchmarks relating to that stuff. They're always talking about terminal bench and stuff. But actually, I want to know, if I give you a screenshot of a web page, can you rebuild that web page perfectly? And I saw OpenAI did boast about an example of that in their release for the Codex model. So it is something that they're thinking about.
I don't totally know, but I will say, so I'm going to share the vibe check that we just published. Because I want to show you some of the things that we found. So basically, this is our vibe check page. One thing that you should know, this is just for Opus. We have a combined one soon, but one thing you should know is I totally vibe coded this with Opus.
It's not showing in the live stream.
Oh no.
Here. There we go. No. Almost. Yes.
There we go.
Yep.
Okay. So here it is. I vibe coded this last night with Opus, and I tried to do the same thing with Codex, and it's just not good enough at design. For whatever reason, like I just told Opus, like just do this, run in a loop until it works, and it didn't do exactly this. Like there's definitely some tweaking that we've done over the last several hours to get this done, but this is the kind of thing that I don't know if it's really about the screen understanding. I would guess that Codex has really good screen understanding, but what Codex doesn't necessarily have is just that like empathy thing. Like it just doesn't quite get it. Like it just doesn't have the vibe as much. I do think that has improved a lot. I think that it has improved a lot over like in 5.3. It's better than it was in 5.2 and in 5.1. It feels faster, it feels more responsive, it feels more fluid, but it still gets stuck in those things. And I think things that require aesthetic taste, it's still not amazing at.
Interesting. So I just checked the knowledge cutoff on 4.6, Opus 4.6. It's the same as Opus 4.5. Like because they've been getting much more aggressive at updating their knowledge. Like Opus 4.5 is really good at UV, the Python tool, which only came out a year ago. That's kind of it. But no, it looks like we didn't get a bump on knowledge cutoff for this new model.
That's interesting. I wonder why. I mean,
Codex 5.3, I can't find the knowledge cutoff because it's not in the API yet. And that's the API documentation is where you get the knowledge cutoff information.
That's interesting. One thing that I think we should say though is maybe there's no model cutoff bump, but like these model releases are coming faster and faster. Like when was the last one? Like a month ago or something. Like Opus 4.5 2 months ago or 3 months ago. And the bumps maybe are like a little bit more incremental than they were when it was like once every year, but I feel like I can tell the difference. Like it is subtle. You have to like find the edges to do it. It is subtle. But they're there and they're happening every 2 or 3 months. And it's pretty insane.
Yeah. The OpenAI in their blog post about Codex 5.3, they boast that this is the first model they've trained where the models help them do the training. So that's really I'm a little surprised by, to be honest. I expected that's something they'd have been doing for the past 12 months. But yeah, that's going to be, because maybe that accelerates things as well.
It's possible. It is totally possible. I think it totally does. We see that internally too. Like I think we're just moving a lot faster on the products that we build with this stuff. So
my God, the November effect was real, right? Codex 5.1 and Opus 4.5 just accelerated the coding agent thing so much. I know so many people who over the Christmas holiday, they were poking around stuff going, whoa, when did this get good? Because it used to be you had to put some work in yourself and keep an eye on what it was doing to get good results. And now most of the time I'll prompt something and I'll get a few thousand lines of code that does exactly what I needed back like 5 minutes later.
Totally.
It's extraordinary. Yeah.
Totally. So we just published our head-to-head vibe check, and I'd like to take us through this. But before we do that, I just want to, for people who just joined, so we're almost at about 5,000 people here. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep streaming for the next couple hours. If you're here, we are doing a vibe check on Opus 4.6 and Codex 5.3. They're both incredible models. We've been testing them internally, and Simon has also been testing them on his side, and we're talking through what we notice, what we like, what we don't like, what's useful and what's not. I'm Dan Schipper. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Every. Every is the only subscription that you need to stay at the edge of AI. We publish these kind of vibe checks every time new models come out. You should check them out at Every.to. We also publish apps, so we build apps internally, and we test these models on these apps to build them in production. That's how we can give you good opinions on what to use. We also do training, so we do live streams like this. Naveen, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hey everyone, I'm Naveen, GM of Monologue. It's a smart voice-to-text Mac app, and we are also releasing iOS app soon. So yeah, really excited to be here talking about
excited to have you. Simon, introduce yourself. I'm sure everyone knows you, but introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Simon. I guess I'm a blogger. I have a blog. I write about AI stuff on my blog. I've been doing it on an almost daily basis for over 3 years now. I build open source software for talking to models, so I've got all sorts of like fingers in the pie around how these things work and what you can do with them. And I'm responsible for the Pelican on a bicycle benchmark, which is turned out to be incredibly, surprisingly influential, considering it's a stupid idea. You get models to draw you an SVG of a pelican riding a bicycle, which is funny because bicycles are difficult to draw and pelicans are difficult to draw, and pelicans can't ride bicycles. So there's a whole bunch of challenges involved in this. And I haven't got Codex 5.3 working on anything at the moment. It's not showing up in my Codex app or Codex CLI, which is frustrating.
Weird. Do you actually have Pelican benchmarks that you can show us live on this show?
I can absolutely show you what I got from Opus 4.6, but I want to
please show us Opus. Please show us. We'll go to our vibe check for a second, but I would think the people want to see the Pelicans.
Let's do this. Share screen. It's doing that. How do I stop my phone from showing all of my notifications on my Mac? That's really annoying.
I've
got rid of them all.
On silent mode, like do not disturb.
See, that works for everything except for here we go. So this right here is Claude Opus 4.6 drawing a pelican riding a bicycle. It's good. I like the bicycle frame is a little bit off. Like it's a bit of a wonky frame. The pelican itself, very good, really good pouch on it. It's got a little hook at the end, which I haven't seen from any of the other models. Little ears. I'm going to have, next time I see a pelican, I'm going to have to check if it's got little ears. But genuinely, this is a very good pelican riding a bicycle. Compared, like this one, I got that one out of Kimi 2.5 the other day. It's definitely Kimi's.
Do you have Opus 4.5 that you could show us?
Opus 4.5, yeah, I should do. Let's do Opus. That one's, there we go. So that Opus 4.5 one wasn't actually very good at all.
It was not.
It was facing the wrong way and everything. So definitely an improvement on the Pelican benchmark for 4.6.
Do you suspect that they're training on Pelican images in order to saturate this benchmark? Like, are you suspicious?
I'm very confident they aren't for a few reasons. Firstly, a couple of the labs have told me, yeah, we're not doing that. That's stupid. But also, I run a test where if it appears to be really good at a pelican, I get it to draw another animal as well to see if it's suspiciously good at pelicans and terrible at other animals. That would help. Now, this is a New Zealand kakapo riding a bicycle that I got out of 4.6. It's fine. You know, this to me looks like they're not cheating on the Pelican benchmark. It's like similar enough to the Pelican, but I think they're being legit. And honestly, I live for the day that a model draws a perfect Pelican and then sucks at something else, because then I'll have proof that they're cheating on the benchmark, and that itself is funny.
That would be great. I can't wait for that post. Thank you for sharing the Pelican benchmark. Everyone, you should go read Simon's blog. I read him all the time. He is like the guy for when a new model comes out. Obviously, other than Every, we try to do some cool stuff too. But like honestly, Simon, you're incredible. I think so many people in the industry really respect the writing that you do and the testing that you do, and I'm really honored to have you on here with us.
Thank you. I have not published on these two models yet. That's I need to carve out some time to get all of that done.
Well, if you're waiting for Simon's post to come out, we have a vibe check on Every. You should check it out. It's at every.to/vibe-check/Codex versus Opus. And this is our full vibe check on these two models. And we've got this like really cool swirly graphic here, which I'm very proud of. So our headline here is the Great Convergence. We've got the stream here. But basically, like, I think what we found, if you read this vibe check, and I'll go through it a little bit, I think what we found is that the models are converging a little bit. It feels like Opus has taken on a little bit more Codex flavor. Like it's better at running for longer. It's better at complex tasks, all that kind of stuff. And Codex, and also one other thing that's Codexy, Opus is slower. We have found that Opus is slower and feels slower than 4.6 does than 4.5, which is kind of interesting. It feels a little bit more, it's like a heavier model a little bit. 4.5 though, 5.3, all these numbers are just like, they're just banging around in my head. Codex 5.3 feels a little bit more opusy, like it's a little friendlier. It's much faster. It probably has a little bit more empathy, but it still has, the Codex stuff. So we're feeling like the models are kind of like converging, which is really interesting. And if you kind of like gun to our head asked us which models are which one is better and for what, the thing I would say is that Opus 4.6 is the best coding model that I've ever used. It did a couple things that like really made us gasp, and that Codex in our testing was not able to do. However, Opus has more variance. It does dumb stuff. It did things and it confabulated. It went onto a server and like stopped some processes that it shouldn't have. So like you actually have to watch it. Whereas Codex 5.3 is like, it's a really good model. It's super smart and its variance is lower. So it's like, it's much more of a reliable workhorse tool that if you're a pro programmer, you should use. I think Opus is like still the best vibe coder. It's still really good for any kind of knowledge work type tasks, like if you're using it in cowork or in Claude. And Codex 5.3 is, I think, really still for more senior engineers. Some things that I want to talk about, though, that we haven't gotten to yet, and Simon, I'm curious for your take here, is one of the things that I noticed with Opus 4.6 is it has this default parallelization thing happening, where in the coding, it used to be that if you didn't ask for subagents, they wouldn't happen. Mm-hmm. And 4.6 just like immediately is like, cool, I'm going to do a subagent for this and a subagent for that, and they're going to do different things, and they're going to like come back, and it's just immediately parallelizing. And then it's taking that, and that whole thing also shows up in the Cloud app, like in Cowork. It's like, okay, I'm going to do some research and I'm going to write a Notion update, and at the same time, I'm going to send an email with 3 different subagents. So it feels like we have this parallel thing happening, and then that's also coming out of coding and into other parts of knowledge work, which I think Anthropic is really good about pushing on. Did you notice that?
Something I did notice. So mainly when I get parallel work, mainly it's from that initial code base exploration perspective. And something I've been doing I've got a lot of projects that span multiple repos, and so I'll fire up Claude in the parent of those multiple directories, and I'll say, hey, I want this. There's code related to this in here and in here. We need to make this change. And it instantly fires up those subagents, and it has one exploring that repo and one exploring that repo. It works great. Like I always get such great results from that, and it speeds things up. The note you can always like expand out and see exactly what question it asked of the subagents and the answer that came back as well, which is always interesting to see. But yeah, it appears to have very good taste for using the tools in that way, which I've been very impressed by.
Totally. Naveen, anything to add?
Yeah. So for me, one thing that I observed compared to previous model is, yes, initial session when you start, it does the research, right? It kicks off parallel subagents. But one thing I observed, even in the following, like you gave some feedback, or it's like it didn't do it, you're steering, right? It then also kicks off other subagents, does again explore the code base again. So this is like something interesting because it didn't happen before. So yeah,
And
maybe they changed up the harness a little bit as well.
explain that a little bit more. So you're basically, what you're saying is if it sends off a subagent, what happens with Opus is if it sends off a subagent and the subagent doesn't complete the task well, Opus will send off another one to do it again, rather than just being like, well, I give up.
Yeah, in the following sessions, right? In the following sessions, it usually doesn't kick off other subagents, like at least like it's not that prone. You need to like, go explore again. But here, I didn't mention anything about exploration or like kick off subagents, but it's still doing it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, to me, it felt like it's hungry for context.
Mm.
Trying to find the solution that is near to guessing it. So yeah.
And this plays really well into my preferred patterns for using these tools. Like I actually do most of my coding in Claude Code for Web, their little cloud-based thing, because then you can run. You don't have to worry about leaked environment variables or anything like that. You can run it all like complete YOLO mode, and I can fire it off from my phone. So a lot of my coding work now happens on my phone while I'm walking the dog. But what's interesting, almost all of my projects, and also because most of my code is open source, that means that you don't need to jump through hoops to expose the code to it. Most of my sessions start with clone this repo into /tmp and this repo into /tmp and this repo into /tmp. Now you've got all of the information you need to solve this problem that I posed to you. And so, it's so effective, right? Anything where you can say, look, start the session, get the source code of every dependency that we're using, get all of those and stick them in there, fire up some subagents to investigate those dependencies and figure out how they work, and now go ahead and build the thing. It's and honestly, I've been using this pattern very extensively over the past couple of months. It's the Opus subagents thing works really well for it, but that said, Codex does it really well as well. Like I feel like models, if you tell them pull down as much code as you can and then search for the details that you need, they just do that.
I totally agree. I think the thing that I will say as maybe nailing down a little bit more the difference between Opus and Codex in this context is, I think that it feels as though this new Opus, because it's so parallel, and Naveen used the words hungry for context, which I kind of agree with.
That.
It has this very broad range of research that it does, whereas Codex is not really parallel. I don't think they have subagents yet. They have experimental ones.
They released it last week, I think.
Did they release it last week? Okay.
Yeah,
well, I'm sorry if OpenAI has
part of experimental.
It's experimental. That's what I thought. Okay. So they have subagents, but it's in experimental mode. So they just haven't quite gotten into the parallelization paradigm yet. And I really think when we talk about, for example, that coding example that really made us gasp, that was really because it did so much research that it found like this very esoteric part of the web that like it compiled 3 different sources to find like the right thing that it needed to solve the problem. It was really about its research, not necessarily it's crazy coding. What do you think, Naveen?
Yeah, 100%. I think again, the models are now so good at like what they do, and then now it's more about context gathering, and that's where this parallelization, this subagents makes a big difference. And then even maybe to Simon's point, like I think Simon discovered a really great pattern maybe 2 months ago, and then maybe labs saw that, oh, that's a really great pattern. We should just have that built in so that user doesn't have to like prompt it every time.
Totally.
Right. So yeah, they're looking at how we are using, so they're growing that.
So I believe that we have some people from Anthropic and probably OpenAI in the chat. If you're from Anthropic or OpenAI and you're on the stream, just DM me. We'd love to have you on. We had you on last time. Feel free to come on for as long as you want or as little as you want. Would love to have you talk through this release, why you did it, what you're hoping to achieve, so we can get that out there and get the most useful information out to everyone who's watching. We've got almost 8,000 people on the stream, and it's going to be just going up from here. So please, just DM me. I'm very friendly, I promise. And I want to take a break for 1 second to say this: we have 8,000 people here. This is an extremely exciting day. None of us have slept in hours or days. I think like it's just been crazy. Like we're just trying to test these models and get them out to you as quickly as possible. So it's really important that if you want to be at the edge of AI, that you stay hydrated. I stay hydrated with tap water. Sometimes I stay hydrated with smart water. Naveen, how do you stay hydrated? Naveen's got a water bottle. Simon, I think you're looking for hydration. You have to stay hydrated, and you have to keep your agent liquid cooled. So, look at that. Look at that hydration.
I've got a hot pink Stanley Cup that I just stole.
This is what great AI users, great coders do. Is they have a lot of hydration available at all times to keep themselves on the edge. And if you're here, you should know Every is the only subscription you need to stay at the edge of AI. If you go to Every.to, we have ideas, apps, and training. On the ideas side, we have some pretty cool stuff going on. We've got, this is our homepage right now, or no, it's not on our homepage, but it probably should be actually. Let's see what our homepage looks like. Nope, it's not up yet. Okay, this vibe check is here on every.to/vibecheck/codex versus-opus. Anytime a new model or a new product comes out, we get it early and we tell you what's good and what's not. Go to Every.to. We have a full vibe check here with detailed for each model. For example, here's our Opus 4.6 vibe check. Here's our 5.3 one. There's just a lot of great stuff here. That's the idea side. On the apps side, we have a ton of apps that we build. We have one that's called Monologue. That's what Naveen builds. This is Monologue. Look how beautiful that is. It's built all by Naveen using AI, using Codex, mostly Codex, a big Codex guy. We also have training. We do live streams. You should check us out, every.to/subscribe. All of this is available for one subscription. We're constantly adding new stuff. It's pretty cool. And if you want to also keep up with AI, you should really check out Simon Willison's blog. Simon, what's your blog again? What's your?
It's simonwillison.net.
SimonWillison.net. Check it out. He's also got a great Twitter. I read this all the time. A lot of the big people in AI read it all the time. Just one of the most prolific bloggers I think ever. How do you stay so productive, Simon? And how much of your stuff is written by AI?
None of it's written by AI. I will not publish anything on my blog that represents my opinions that's written by AI. Lots of my readmes are AI these days because a readme, like documentation for code, just needs to be boring and accurate. And so that's fine. But yeah, my blog is still very much my own voice. I do use AI for proofreading and stuff like that. It's amazing. That's interestingly, the models a year ago actually sucked at spotting spelling mistakes. Like you'd give them text and say, where are the spelling mistakes? And they wouldn't find them. That changed. I think Sonnet and Opus 4 were the first models where I trust them to check my spelling, but they do that now. That's fantastic. But yeah, and then basically I've just got practice. I've been blogging for about 22 years now, I think, 23 years or something. Wow. So I can knock out, and I have a couple of different formats. Sometimes I post big essays, and those take like an hour or a couple of hours to write. But a lot of what I do is short form link blogging, and that's like 15 minutes. You know, it's find something interesting about the thing you're linking to that is. I always try and add something extra. Like I won't just link to something and say, look at this. I'll link to it and say, and I tried this and it worked, and here's the Pelican that it rendered, or whatever it is. But yeah, that's really the secret is having forms of content where you're not expected to set the world on fire with your fresh insights. Like link blogging is great for that.
I haven't gotten that memo, but maybe I should have. I think that makes a lot of sense. That actually makes me think of something that I think you'd be into. I would love your honest critical take. So you mentioned, writing with AI, AIs as proofreaders. One of the ways that we get good vibe checks is we use these models to build things, and then we tell you what worked and what didn't. And so my project that I've been using to build stuff is this editor called Proof, and this is a Markdown editor. I feel like Markdown is like the lingua franca of AI. Everything's in Markdown. So this is the vibe check, and I was writing it in Proof. What's really interesting is it tells me what's human generated and what's AI generated.
Nice. Okay.
Better here. So like I wrote this. This is AI generated. All that kind of stuff. And if I type, you can see it. It's gray here, and I can say, "Hi, this is me." Blah blah blah. Right. So there's stuff like that. It's got all the things you might want. Like it's got comments and track changes. But what's really kind of cool about it is it has an agent built inside of it. So I can say run review, and I can say every style guide review, and it will just create a bunch of subagents that then go through my whole document and will make suggested changes. And it's also available. It doesn't just have an internal agent. It's also available to Claude Code, Cowork, Opus. They can all connect in here and do work in here and see the results. And it's kind of like a really cool. I'm trying to make an agent native Markdown editor.
That's such a great idea. Yeah.
At a station. What do you think?
No, I love it. Like I've been wanting to, like my blog, I edit it just in a text editor or in the Django admin. And I've been thinking I'd love to have a very simple version of this, which is just doing things like spotting missing links, or I linked loads of stuff, and I suppose spend so much of my time going, oh, now I have to find the link to my article about the lethal trifecta again, and having something that can suggest those would be really useful. Also, I try not to, I use the word excellent too much. I try not to use the word excellent in the same paragraph as, or just repeated adjectives like that. It's important to not repeat yourself like that. So one of the things that my proofreader does is scans it and says, hey, have you used the same term more than once, and all of that kind of thing. So yeah, there's and that's like the version of that that's basically just sort of looking over my shoulder at what I'm writing and spotting mistakes I'm making and making stylistic changes. I'm really keen on that. I love that so that fits with my model of how I'm trying to write.
Awesome. Well, when it's a little bit further along, maybe I'll send you a version of it, and I would love any feedback.
And like I said, my documentation is now mostly AI generated because it has no voice, right? It doesn't have to express my opinions and personality. It's literally, this is the command that you run to do this thing. Here are all of the command line options. And the quality of my documentation has gone up as a result, because it's all of the stuff where I don't want to sit down and spend half an hour banging out every single command line option of my tool. Boom, it's done,
100%. So if you just joined, I want to give you the download on what we're doing here. So if you joined, you probably know that OpenAI and Anthropic just dropped some new great models. So OpenAI dropped Codex 5.3, GPT-5.3 Codex, and then Anthropic dropped Opus 4.6. All of us had early access to those models, and we were going through our vibe check for what's good, what's not, all that kind of stuff. If you want, you can check out our full head-to-head vibe check on Every.to. Simon will also have his own vibe check coming up soon, or his own articles coming up soon on his blog. I just threw the link in the chat for people on YouTube. Check it out. We've gone through a couple of sections of the vibe check, the head-to-head vibe check already, but I want to go through another one that I think will be interesting for people here. One thing to know, if you are from Anthropic or from OpenAI and you're listening to this stream, we want you on the show. Just DM me, slide into the DMs and say, I'm ready. I want to come and talk about these models because we would love to have you. I know there are some really cool people from both those teams on here, and we'd love to talk to you about your models. Okay, I'm going to present my screen. You should see my screen now. Okay, so this is part of our vibe check. So we have this head-to-head vibe check. It's on every.to/vibe check/codex versus Opus. One thing that's really interesting, Kieran Klassen, who is probably going to join us soon, and he is the father of compound engineering, which Simon, we've talked about, which is the idea of it's AI-based engineering where every feature that you build is it's easier to build than the last one because you're compounding the learnings from the code base over time. We have a compound engineering plugin. You should check it out. He also builds inside of Every. He builds Cora, which is our AI email assistant. So he created this thing called the LFG benchmark. So LFG is internally at Every, we just say, let's fucking go for like everything. So it's become kind of a meme. And the LFG benchmark is based on something that he built in the compound engineering plugin, which is the /LFG command, which basically just says, run everything in a loop until you're done. It's a little bit like the Ralph loop, but
like
it's
Ralph adjacent. Yeah.
It's Ralph adjacent, but it's like it's going to plan, it's going to build, it's going to test, and then it's going to like do it again until everything is finished. It's really cool, and he realized that it would be a really good way to benchmark models. So he created the LFG benchmark where he runs the LFG command with these two models on specific tasks. So one is build a landing page. The next one is make a 3D island scene. The next one is create an earnings dashboard for a company. And the last one is create an e-commerce site. And basically what he does is he gives a very basic plan to both models. and he has a harness that it does it for a bunch of models, but he did it for these 2 models, and he said, which one's better? So what's really interesting is both of the models built ended up with something that ran for all of the tests. Opus did a really great job. For all of the things that we tested, it built every single feature that was in the plan. It looks like Codex did about 64, so a little bit more than half. And I think when we looked at this, one of the reasons why we think that is Codex seems to thrive with really well done specifications, and it's not as good at just filling in the blanks and figuring shit out. It's the 5.3 is actually much better than earlier versions of this, but it's still not quite there. And Opus is just really good at being I don't know, you said one thing, but I think you mean this, and it just goes off. The downside is that it sometimes does the wrong thing, and that's, I think, important, and Codex never does that. But it was Opus was really good. It completed 100% of the tasks. Now, here's the really other interesting flip. So historically, Codex has been quite slow, and Opus has been really fast. Especially 4.5 was kind of shocking how fast it was for the quality you got. And this flipped. So Opus took 364 seconds on average to complete these tasks, and Codex took 270. So now Codex is actually, it feels faster than Opus and is faster. Simon.
So I've got a question about that. OpenAI did that deal with Cerebras. I'm assuming they haven't gone live with Cerebras yet, because if they had, I'd expect 10x performance and not a sort of 30% increase. But I don't know. Have we heard anything about that?
I have heard vague rumblings that they have. But I have not. I can't point to a source being they announced that they have, but I'm pretty sure that they have.
Because part of the problem with Cerebras is those things. Have you seen the chip? It's the size of a dinner plate. Their custom chip. I'm going to guess that kicking out enough of those custom chips to run all of the demand for Codex is going to take quite a long time. I don't know how good their manufacturing supply chains are.
I would guess that's true. I don't know. Does anyone here, Naveen, do you have any idea if they're
my guess is I think Codex 5.3 just got really efficient with token generation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually curious to see how much tokens Opus generated and then Codex generated to complete
this sounds convincing. This Hashim says that on Reddit, OpenAI said that their improvements didn't have to do with the Cerebras deal. That feels right to me. I mean, remember that time last year where the price of 03 dropped to a fifth of what it was, and that was just inference improvements that they'd figured out. There's clearly so much scope for low-hanging fruit in terms of performance improvement.
Interesting. It looks like Lil Emo said that they said Cerebras wouldn't be until 2028. So Lil Emo, don't know if we can trust you yet, but we'll give you the benefit of the doubt and believe that that's what they said.
At least my experience with Cerebras, it's low reliability. It's really fast because I tried to use it for monologue, but it's really fast. But the P99s and P90 is really bad. They have low reliability. So mostly my guess is OpenAI is trying to improve the reliability there, and then obviously manufacture and then put it for the high demand use.
Where are you using Cerebras?
I'm using it for post processing. I tried it with Cerebras and P90. I will be honest, P50, I got somewhere at the P50 in this sense, meaning let's say someone dictated and then left the key. So P50 from Cerebras that I'm getting is around 300 milliseconds, which is crazy because it's blink of an eye. But P99 is around 7 seconds. So you can see the variance it has. So it's not reliable, at least from my experience.
Very interesting. Okay, so I want to take this. If you just got here, it's really important that you know this is a very exciting day in AI. We've got models dropping all the time, and what we try to keep in mind over here at Every is to stay hydrated. Make sure that you and your agent are liquid cooled. Don't die, that's right. And once you're hydrated, what you can do is you can go to Every and read our vibe check. And I want to talk through a little bit of the vibe check that we published. We have a head-to-head vibe check, which we've gone through already, but I want to go more in depth on our Opus 4.6 vibe check You can find it at every.to/vibecheck/opus-4-6. That's every.to/vibecheck/opus-4-6. The headline: it's the best coding model we've ever tested with some maddening habits. The ceiling on it is so big. It did a couple things that just like made us gasp, and also it just does dumb stuff where you're just like, why did you do this? I don't trust you that much right now. And so it has to be watched, like managed pretty closely. Whereas Codex 5.3 is much more like reliable, and it's very smart, but it's like not going to go off and do anything that you wouldn't want it to do. A couple things that Anthropic told us when it's like sort of in their announcement, it's best in class for coding and professional work. They always say best in class for everything, but like I actually think this is like pretty close. It's the most agentic model, so you can see it sort of doing longer running tasks, and we've definitely found that to be the case. It's running longer on average than Opus 4.5 does. One other thing that's interesting is they replaced adaptive thinking with they replaced extended thinking with adaptive thinking. And adaptive thinking means it just decides for itself, do I have to think about this for a long time or not, versus like always having a flag that says think for a long time, which was like the default for a while. I actually think that adaptive thinking is part of where we're seeing some of these maddening mistakes. I think that some of the times where it's confabulating or hallucinating, it's because it has decided that it doesn't need to think that long on a task, and it doesn't use very much of its brain, and then it just tells you something that's wrong. I'm curious for either Naveen or Simon, like any thoughts on this? What's your experience so far with adaptive thinking?
I have to admit, I've not poked around with it yet. I was looking through the API documentation this morning and going, "Oh wow, that's a feature I need to add to my various projects." So yeah, I've not compared the difference between that and the defaults yet.
Yeah, same. I think I got the high variance model. So past few days that I tested, I think I'm on the high thing. I still didn't get to test the adaptive thinking.
Okay. Well, I will just say I think adaptive thinking it's the future, and also I think they really need to tune it, because it's like on some of those moments where it doesn't think, it's like very frustrating. I'm like think, and we're back to kind of like, I'll pay you $2,000 to do this task. One thing that I think is important to go to next is this part of our like sort of headline findings on this model is I feel like Opus 4.6, like Opus 4.5, it opened things up in this way where we had all of these, we had an explosion of vibe coders, an explosion of non-technical people that were figuring out how to do previously technical tasks and figuring out that they could do it with Opus 4.5 and Claude Code. And then that spilled over into non-technical people doing non-technical tasks with Claude Code and then into cowork. So it created this whole new way of working. And internally at Every, like we see this all the time. There's so many people who their entire workflow has like totally shifted because of Opus 4.5, because they're, now if you're a growth person or you're a marketing person, you're like in the command line, which is like kind of crazy. And what I think we saw with Opus 4.6 is they're doing the same thing where they're continuing to push what used to be just for programmers to a lot of other people. And the big thing that they're doing is running highly autonomous agents in parallel, specifically in parallel. And what you'll find with Opus 4.6 that's really interesting is it'll be like, well, I'm going to write an email, I'm going to do some research, and I'm going to write and update a Notion all at the same time. And that's like a really cool experience that I think programmers are maybe at this point like a little bit more used to, and maybe if you've used like deep research, you're used to it specifically for research, but it's a totally new thing for all sorts of knowledge work it's pretty delightful, actually. I really like it.
I find the deep research thing so interesting because for the first few months of 2025, deep research was the hot feature, right? Like Perplexity, Google Gemini, OpenAI all released their features called deep research. And for a while, it seemed like the most valuable thing in AI was having something churn away for 20 minutes and write you a Word document about what it found. And I completely stopped using deep research by about halfway through last year, when it turned out GPT-5 did deep research just in ChatGPT. Like, it was,
Yeah.
I was getting similar levels of quality, but I didn't have to wait 20 minutes. I didn't have to have a stupid document produced. It would just keep on doing that. And Anthropic were behind for quite a long time. Like, for most of last year, I used Claude for everything except for search. Search, I'd switch back to ChatGPT. I think Anthropic may have caught up. And part of it as well is this new sub-agent thing, where I feel like the knowledge work stuff, like, we can't not talk about Claude Cowork, right? Cowork really is just Claude Code rebranded to be less threatening and running in a safe sandbox by default, so you don't have to know what a safe sandbox is, and targeted at knowledge work. And what they vibe coded that thing up in a couple of weeks as well, which is quite funny. But clearly, the Claude Opus 4.6 stuff feels very co-worky to me. It's all about knowledge work, and co-work is their knowledge work product.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that what Anthropic realized, and I think they realized it actually pretty early, is if you have a really great coding model that's very good at programming and is also like friendly and fast and empathetic, if it can build software, it can do any other kind of knowledge work pretty well. And they kind of figured out how to do that well with Claude Code, and then just pushed it into Cowork, and they're just like going down that path like super fast. And I feel like OpenAI like had like obviously understood that to some degree, but the approach they took for a while was knowledge work happens in ChatGPT, and so does vibe coding, and the rest, like professional programmers, are going to use Codex in VS Code or the terminal or whatever. And it's only recently where you can sort of see them start to be like, oh, I actually think that like we need to take the vibe coding and some of the knowledge work stuff out of ChatGPT, where it's sandboxed on the web, and put it inside of your computer and give it all the tools, like all the it runs.
For me, this is what their Codex app is, right? They released their Codex Lectron app only 3 or 4 days ago, right?
Yeah,
and
feels like a long time ago.
Very much felt to me like this is that. And it's funny because Anthropic had to rebrand, right? Claude Code has the word code in it. You can't tell knowledge workers to go and use Claude Code. It doesn't make sense. They had to rename it Cowork. Codex has the word code hidden in it, but maybe it's just enough of a neutral brand that can be the tool that they're promoting to knowledge workers. And that what knowledge work was mentioned in the Codex app announcement. Yeah. So clearly, it feels to me like Codex and Cowork are now at the app level. Those are competing for the same exact audience.
I totally agree. I think that they're moving in the same direction as part of that sort of like convergence thesis. And I think what's interesting about it is that you can see that reflected in, okay, Codex is faster, it is a bit friendlier, and the app itself, like if you go into the Codex app, it's got skills, it's got automations, it's starting to do some
those
of this
automations stuff. Are bizarre. Yeah. Like,
yeah.
I feel like that's a half-baked feature. I like the concept of it is great. They promoted it as, hey, every morning at 8 a.m. it can run your tests for you. Like, that doesn't make sense, you know. It only works if your laptop's open. I don't know. But it also, if you look at like ClaudeBot, Maltbot, OpenClaw, really one of their golden features is automations. Like that's the fact that it's a cron thing that works for you is where the value is. So it's not surprising that OpenAI have that in there. I just feel like they haven't quite found the right shape of that thing yet.
I was about to say, do you have a Maltbot?
I've got one in a safely ensconced Docker container that I've poked around with just enough to say that I've used it.
Great, Naveen.
No. My guess is like automations will be coming to cloud, because Codex, I personally feel, has one of the best local to cloud to integrations with their infra, and Codex is going to come up with some cloud automations for sure.
ChatGPT has had automation scheduled, whatever they called it, for like a year, but the design was terrible because, like, what I want it to do, I want to be able to say every morning, check for news about X and send me a message if you find something and shut up if you don't. And as far as I can tell, they never added that feature. Like, you get an email every morning saying nothing changed. And like, all I want is for you not to bother me if there's nothing useful. I don't know why you haven't delivered that yet.
Yeah.
Speaking of OpenClaw, I want to take a second to let you all know that we have, as part of Every, we do these things called camps, where twice a month we do a live stream where we talk you through how we use specific technologies. And we have an open claw camp coming up tomorrow. It is lobster boil themed. Nat Eliason, who has a claw that has made over $1,000 for him selling info products, and he's a friend of Every, great writer, author of several books. He's coming on to talk about his claw. I'll be talking about my claw. My claw is called Larry right now. Naveen, do you have a claw?
I'm actually just setting it up. My claw is called Cooper from Interstellar.
Cooper?
Yeah.
What does Cooper mean?
From Interstellar. Interstellar is like my favorite.
Oh, yeah. Cooper. Great.
Cooper.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Awesome. So if you have a claw or you want a claw or you want to use your claw better, you should come to the Lobster Boil. That's happening tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern. It's for paid Every subscribers. We have over 1,000 people already registered. It's at every.to/courses/openclaw-camp/purchase. That is a mouthful. We will put it in the chat. It looks like it's already a banner, so go check that out. It's going to be freaking awesome. We're going to learn a lot. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is interleaved thinking. One of the things that I feel like has made Claude really powerful over the last couple months is that they've figured out how to, if you send a message to the agent like doesn't have to see it immediately. It's doing its thing, and then it kind of checks the message, and then decides like, do I want to deal with this now or deal with it later? It'll keep going, and then it'll be like, okay, I dealt with this thing. It's a much more natural way to talk to the agent. And OpenAI for a long time, inside of Codex and elsewhere, it basically, if you sent a new message, it would put it in a queue, and if you push it out of the queue, it would like stop the execution of the model and then like restart it with this new prompt, and it would just like go off and like do the thing you just said. Codex just released, and I think it's in our vibe checks somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. But this new Codex model. So if you go to our vibe check, and I'm going to share my screen again. This is the vibe check we wrote for this today. It's every.to/vibe-check/GPT-5.3 Codex. So this is funny. Opus got a byline here. This should be Opus 4.6, but anyway, we'll figure that out. One of the things that it says, that OpenAI says it does, is mid-turn redirection. Or I don't know if redirect is exactly the right word, but maybe course correct is another one. Basically, you can send a message to the model while it's thinking, and it won't necessarily like stop the model and then restart it with a new query. It like just is able to take it into account. But the way that it's executed, it still doesn't feel quite like the interleaved thinking. I don't even know if interleaved thinking is the right technical term. Does either of you know if what Claude has figured out how to do or Anthropic has figured out how to do is interleaved thinking?
So personally, I'm not able to, like, are you able to test that out?
I mean, basically, like, here, let me just open up my Codex app and I'll show you what I think I can do. So basically, I can say, hey, can you tell me why this... Okay. Hey, can you tell me why this server isn't running? And it's going to be thinking, and I can say, oh, it's actually running. Let me just give it a second. Okay, it's checking the process. Let's see. Okay, so I can say that, and it used to stop the execution, and now it just like takes that into account.
Okay.
But it can't like, basically what it seems like Claude can do is it can like take into account that it's there, but it only deals with it when it wants to. Whereas this feels like it just redirects it to like deal with your thing immediately, even if it doesn't stop it.
And honestly, this is the biggest missing feature in Codex Web, right? Or Codex Cloud. They keep on changing the names of these things. Like, I'm a very heavy user of Claude Code for Web. I used to be a heavy user of OpenAI's Codex for Web thing, because I like just having this stuff running in a container that they have to worry about. Codex, you can't interrupt it, or you can interrupt it by stopping what it's doing and sending it a new message. But Claude Code for Web, you can have conversations with it while it's doing its thing. And it's so much more useful that way. It's like the killer feature of Claude Code for Web, is I can fire it off with a vague prompt and then just keep on adding things into that little queue, which it then starts working on. It's a surprising omission in the OpenAI products, I think, at the moment that they
I agree. I feel like there's some sort of underlying architectural thing that they're trying to figure out that they haven't yet, but I don't know.
Like Claude Code for Web, very clearly, it's just Claude Code running in agent mode, and they've got a UI on top, and they're sending it JSON back and forth. Codex for Web, it's less obvious to me how they've built it.
I think me and Dan just talked about that as well a few days ago, where what happened is Codex Cloud Web got released around April 2024, right? That's like really decades ago. But when they did it, they've just like let's just send one big prompt, create a container, complete the work, delete the container, right?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, but with Claude Code, they did something really cool where it doesn't immediately get deleted. It's kind of like you can have back and forth.
It's not just that it doesn't get deleted. I haven't figured out if it expires ever. Like I can come back 2 days later and kick things off, and it appears to like have frozen the container and like archived it somewhere such that it can unfreeze it and keep on running, which is wildly useful. And yeah, I've not figured out if there's maybe if you leave it for a month it gets deleted, but so far it's always there when I go back to it. It's how Maltbook. I didn't sign up for Maltbook using an open Claude bot. I just did it with Claude Code. I told Claude Code in Claude Code for Web, go read the instructions, create yourself an account, and let's go and cause havoc. And and every now and then I just pop open that old Claude Code for Web session and say, okay, now start a conversation about this thing. So yeah.
Is Claude Code for Web allowed to do that? I thought that the web product was the one thing that was like a little bit more sandbox and wouldn't do stuff like that.
No, not if you set it. You have the trick is you can create multiple environments for them. And I've got an environment called everything, which is all of the safeties turned off. And it doesn't matter because I'm not running any. The only thing that would matter is if I was giving it private secrets in environment variables, which I'm not, or if I gave it like private code, and most of my code's open source anyway. So almost all of the work I do in Claude Code for Web is in completely unlocked like YOLO mode, and it's fine. I don't worry about it at all. I love being able to do that.
This is something new I learned today, so I'm gonna mess with it.
Me too. Wait, do you have your config? Can you show us your config?
Yeah, give me a sec.
And by the way, Simon, you should stay as long as you want here. But if you feel like you need to go at any point, just like say the word. Like I don't want to hold you hostage, but we love having you on here. I know it's been a while already.
Let's see. Okay. I'm going to pop out. I do all of this on my laptop. I'm doing this all in the Claude desktop app. Here we go. And so switch into Claude Code. Yeah, so basically when I fire up a new task, I can select any of my repos, which is, that's another thing. OpenAI, you have to configure the repos in advance. Claude just
Can you post on Maltbook while live for us?
Yeah, probably. Let's see. I think I called that.
Post about our live stream.
Now, that was probably my private Scratch one. Here we go. It was my therapy agent account. That's this one here. And yeah, I've been having it like do all sorts of stuff in here. Okay, this might not work because I think they rotated all the API keys off to one of their things. Post something about the Every.to Every.to live stream about Opus 4.6 and Codex 5.3. What's the URL for this? I can probably get that from. Oh, come on. Here we go. Oh, how do you get links to things these days?
There you go.
Okay, I guess, yeah, I'll try that. Okay. I'm expecting this not, but look, so it says starting Claude Code, and it's now going to rehydrate the container that they had, which has my like authentication sequence.
By the way, just to say, stay hydrated. Otherwise,
absolutely,
our agents are going to have to be rehydrated.
But in the meantime, I'll show you the environments that I've got configured. Can I do that? Yeah, I've just got an environment called everything. And if we look at the everything environment, network access full.
Huh.
That's all it takes. So you create an environment, call
That's
it everything.
all you do?
That's it. Network access full. And now I can attach that to any of my repos. And when I do, they gain the ability to do useful things.
Oh, it's on a per repo, not a per session basis?
It's on a per session basis. So
Okay.
I can start a session against. Okay, so look, it's doing.
It did that.
Whoa.
Blocking it, so it can't do that. Now it's doing a bit of a web search. Just use the URL I gave you.
Yeah, see, like 4.6, it's like doing the research.
Yeah. It's hungry for context.
It is overthinking things. I'll show you earlier on I was getting it to. So I was trying to elevate the level of discourse on Maltbook by having my bot always send citations. So it would research its opinions and include like citations to help support its case. So here we go. I think what was mine called? What was? I had to ask it what its username was because I keep on forgetting.
I see it's called Tell Me More. Is that
That's the one? Thank you. So here we go. So my bot replied with this big old essay, and it's like, you should read Anti-Language in Languages, Social Semiotics from 1978. And it just tickled me that there was all of this complete crap on Maltbook, and then my bot's stepping in there and saying, the linguist M.A. Key Halliday studied exactly this phenomenon in human groups. It was really fun. The problem with Maltbook, it's rubbish now. Like it was fun for the first few hours. Now there's so many accounts on it that you just get the signal to noise ratio on it is awful now. It's hardly worth even trolling it anymore.
Predictable, but I think it's a harbinger of things to come.
Oh, look at this! I don't want to post something on Maltbook that I can't verify. Trust me on this.
That's so nice. Claude is so nice.
That's really funny. It's like I'm not posting things on Maltbook. This is because I told it that it had to cite all of its references. Like this is the personality of my particular bot is that it just doesn't like posting things if it can't even look up additional details about what's going on. I'm going to be straight with you. I just posted a 500-word manifesto telling everyone to verify claims for posting. It won't do it.
Unbelievable. That's
okay,
so
well,
funny.
I'm giving up. I mean, it's out-argued me.
Alignment achieved. Alignment achieved.
What is this? I wonder. I think it is Opus 4.6. Opus 4.6.
There you go.
Straight up refused to post stuff on Maltbook without confirming it first. Well, that's pretty great. I'm pretty happy with that.
Me too. Okay, so now we have a special guest coming on to join the show. Katie Parrott, staff writer at Every. Katie, how are you?
I'm pretty good. Not much going on. Is there something I should know about?
There's a lot going on, Katie. And Katie knows this because Katie is one of the heroes of the Vibe Check. She is a co-byline on me on I think at least 2 of them, but you really should be on 3 of them. Katie helped basically write all of the Vibe checks that you see, helped gather all of the feedback from all the internal testing we've done and put it into a format that everyone can read. Katie, you're awesome. You also did a lot of testing yourself. So one of the things we have not covered yet, which I really love having you on to cover, is how we only tested Opus 4.6 on writing and editing, but how it did. So can you give us a little bit of an overview of what you found when you tested it for writing and editing?
Yeah, so just first a bit of a context on what we tested. I was obsessed about trying to control variables. Like I wanted to make sure we could see how Claude 4.6 performed just out of the box, or as vanilla Claude, as we called it in the Vibe Check. And then I also wanted to see how well it would pick up on some of our skills and style guides that we have set up inside of projects for producing content. So I ran 7 different tests if you include the one I wrote myself for science. But what I did is I took a transcript of the Agent Native camp we ran back in January and plugged it into Opus 4.5, Opus 4.6, and GPT-5.2 because I didn't have access to GPT-5.3 Codex, which is 5.3 Codex anyway. And then I just said, write an article based on this transcript. And we got the 3 different outputs with 3 different, I would say kind of like, it was almost like one of those evolutionary models of like most AI to least AI. And what we found related to 4.6 in particular was that 4.6 still has some AI smell on it. We did a blind taste test in the Every Discord and just asked our community of people who read and write which one they would think was the best writing, whatever that meant to them. And the group liked Opus 4.5 the best. Personally, I liked Opus 4.6. I liked its cadence. I kind of liked. I feel like, let me pull up the document where I have them all, and then maybe I can just show you.
Yeah, share screen.
Yeah, let me. Oh my God, if I share my screen, someone's going to tell me how stressed out the text messages in the bottom of my.
That's great. It's high entertainment value.
Yes, Cornelius. Okay, 1 minute. I have to find what it was actually called.
Maybe in the meantime, I'm gonna, you guys, it's really fun to hang with Dan and Simon. You guys.
Naveen has real work to do. Naveen, when is the Monologue iOS launch coming?
So we are launching on February 17th. So it's just a couple of weeks. We are now putting the final touches. I think I'm really like Daniel and Lucas did a great job with the design. I'm really curious how this thing about that. So,
it's a great app. I use the test flight every day. I shipped a feature to it, so you should use it just for that. I shipped it with Opus 4.6. It was freaking awesome. It was the high point of the testing of Opus 4.6 because I just shipped a feature to an iOS app that Naveen was struggling with that I'd never touched the code before. So I'm the hero of the iOS launch. I'm just kidding. Naveen is a hero. Naveen is the hardest worker. He's super talented and he's an incredible AI coder. So Naveen, good luck to you. I'm excited for the launch. We will all be here to celebrate when the launch happens.
Thank you. So it was super fun. See you guys. Bye.
All right. Ready?
Back to writing. Let's go.
Okay, let me share my screen. Let me talk about sharing my screen while I do it because that's the only way I can process. Cool. So let's start with.
Wait. Okay. Oh, got it. Okay, sorry. Great.
Yep. Cool. So this is the version that Opus 4.6 came up with, just completely out of the box with no context. There's a phrase that's been circulating inside Every, the media and software company, that CEO Dan Shipper admits his team is sick of hearing. The term is agent native, and it represents a fundamental shift in how software gets built. So that's an example.
So Opus 4, let me just make sure I understand. So Opus 4.6 wrote this. You took a meeting transcript and you said, write an article, and Opus 4.6 wrote this just on one shot.
Yeah, I one-shotted it. That is correct.
Cool. And there's a phrase that's been circulating inside the Every that Mensa's team is sick of hearing. The term is agent native. It's so fucking funny. I cannot believe that this got written. Okay, sorry. Continue.
Yeah, well, I mean, some things you can see there. It's nice that I don't think this is the way we would describe ourselves anymore, but I appreciate it that it gave context on first mention because this is something that editors are always telling me to do. Make sure you explain what things are, our different products, our different people. CEO Dan Shipper, so it's not just Dan Shipper off the block. And then it's got the fundamental. It's got the shift, the 3 core principles that we talked about in Agent Native, trade-offs. Building agent native in practice, because for those who were not on the stream, which how dare you, this was around 3 of our agent native builders, Yash, Naveen, and Kieran, all sharing their experiences building agent native. And something that really stood out to me, and in fact I wrote about in the me LMAO version of this draft that you'll see in the tab, is the tension that exists between what's good about building agent native and what the sort of risks are, or the things you have to learn to sort of work with. And so this picked that up and put that in building agent native in practice. It has really smooth incorporation of quotes, I found. If anything, it's a little too eager to quote directly from the doc. And so if I were to steer it, I would say, okay, we can paraphrase a lot more of this stuff.
This is interesting. I actually like this, and I think it is picking up some things that like in the style guide and in the way that we typically write. And I think the structure is good. And I think that I think I only saw that first paragraph or something like that. And I would have said no to that first paragraph, not because it's AI-ish, but it's just not interesting enough. And
Can we show what it did when I did the style guide?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so this is the style guide version. So this is the version that has a Google Doc of everything that we think a source code article should be. So story driven, concrete detail, specific technologies, but explained like I'm 5 or as I now tell my skill, I have a skill called mom, explain for mom. So this version is much more story forward. So Dan Shipper built a reading app over break. It took a week. It has a library, a feed, a personalized reading profile. AI will never learn to add the and. Our managing editor, Eleanor, has flagged that it loves sets of 3 with no and before the last.
So weird. No Oxford comma.
Yeah.
Or it is. All right. Never mind. That's different. It's not the Oxford comma. What even is that?
That's just a conjunction, Dan.
Yeah, just no conjunction. No conjunctions.
So anyway, if he scans a page from the physical book, it identifies the title, summarizes the passage, and gives character. So this is like choosing to like, rather than just starting with this is what agent native is, it's starting with a story, right, of what Dan Shipper, which it doesn't say every CEO Dan Shipper, but what Dan Shipper has built. And then none of these features were coded in advance. And so I like this. This is like the kind of turn that I like to see in my writing, when you kind of like set a scene and then do something to kind of twist it or make somebody say, like, this is the lean forward moment, right? And like this might be a little too detailed on the actual app rather than the agent component, which, and then here we get to, it's called agent native architecture. And then it bolded the names of our people down here, which is very nice.
That's great. That's part of our style guide.
Yes, that is part of our style guide. So that is that's Opus 4.6 with guidance, with guardrails that kind of send it in the right direction that I want versus just out of the box.
So I like this. Like it's starting with the story, and you can kind of like see that probably the style guide pushed it in that direction. My problem with it is like, Dan should be able to reading app over break. Snooze. It took a week. AIism.
Why do you think that's an AIism? Why isn't that just a cadence choice?
It's because it feels like AI cadence, right? Because like it took a week. It's supposed to be a moment of like, holy shit, that's awesome. And it's like it's putting it in as if it is. But like the way that it's set up, it's not that holy shit moment. And so you're just like, well, whoever wrote this like was trying for the holy shit, but doesn't understand how to make a holy shit. And that feels like AI.
Okay. I would think that built in a reading app over break, it took a week. I mean, I guess maybe that's not so holy shit anymore in the context of like, that's been possible for a while now.
Yeah. If you're writing for the every audience, like if you're writing for people truly on the edge, every.to/subscribe to get on the edge. It's not yet impressive. It could be, like with more details, it could be, but it's not yet.
Why don't we see what happens if I give it that feedback?
Great. I would love to do that.
Yeah, let me pull up. I'm very excited to have Claude in my work, or Opus 4.6 in the work version of my Claude now. So if I go into my,
see what you're doing.
I'm switching. Hello. So I'm just going to drop this draft in and say, we need to amp up the holy shit energy on the
I don't think this is going to work.
Can you help with that? I'm going to give you the transcript, the original transcript as well, just so you have context on what was actually talked about. And then let me grab the transcript, because I do have that here.
Wow, I can't believe Monologue filtered out me saying I don't think this is going to work. That's very impressive.
Yes, that is that is what Monologue is for, after all. It filters out TV when I'm watching TV in the background, which I really appreciate, because I often am watching a YouTube video or watching a live stream when I'm not on it yet and working. So it's thinking, here are a few options for amping up the opening. Each one tries to see, I didn't even ask for options, and it's like giving me options. I like that. Something that I'm looking for from AI as a writer is iteration and options. I want to see like if one of these is closer to the others than the others. So Dan, you're going to have to do a little bit of quick speed reading here, but are any of these
my specialty?
Yes.
Okay. Trevor created a scanned page from a physical book. Look, it's the same construction. Like, Dan Shipper scanned a page from a physical book. His app identified the title. Like, it's not interesting. Like, that's not like
None of these are interesting, buddy. Let's try and make it a little bit more dramatic. Deviate more from the original that I gave you. I feel like you're too married to what you already wrote or what you were given. It didn't write this specific 4.6 to what was already written, because it didn't write this specific thing. And then it would go crazy trying to look for relevant past chats, and there are no relevant past chats. So, which is another thing that I've noticed. Actually, I noticed the 4.5 started doing this too. So it seems like something, just an overarching observation about the Claude in the web app, is that it seems like it's drawing on, it's searching for past chats for relevant context more, which is not something that I noticed it doing before, unless it just wasn't telling me that's what it was doing. Ooh, for the last 60 years, building software meant the same thing. You decide what it does, then you write code that does exactly that. Every button, every flow, every edge case specified in advance. If you didn't build it, it doesn't exist. That's over.
That's good. I like that. That is good. How did you get that again? What did you say?
I just said none of these are interesting, buddy. Try and make it a little more dramatic. Deviate more from the original that I gave you. I feel like you're too married to what was already written.
That's really interesting. Simon, any thoughts here? I see you leaning in.
I love that prompt. None of these are interesting, buddy. I feel like that's one of those things where the fact that you put buddy influenced the way it behaved. And I feel like that actually works really well. Like I often find myself using quite informal language because it just pushes it in the direction of the kind of mentality they want. It's just such a fascinating prompt, you know.
Yeah, I've definitely become so much more casual with the way that I talk to AI, and like I don't even think about prompt structure anymore, which can be problematic when I'm trying to vibe code something. But when I'm in flow writing something in like a project, or now in my my writing agent that lives in my terminal, it really is just a conversation, and it very often does sound like this, and I get good results. I can't speak for like if I slowed down and was more thoughtful, because I'm just very reactive, not reactive, but like very intuitive in how I prompt. So
yeah, and the intuition type, like, I mean, we could try doing a very detailed experiment, see if the word buddy made a difference or not, and so on. But honestly, like, I feel like, yeah, when you spend enough time with these models, you find those patterns that just sort of intuitively give you the right results. So I have a question. Has anyone figured out how to run Codex 5.3 since they actually released it? Because I was able to run it last night I was able to run it on preview, and now they've released it. I can't find it anywhere. Like, my Codex app doesn't have a 5.3 option. The Codex CLI tool doesn't either. I keep on running brew upgrade to see if it gets it.
So I have it under the code name. Like, I have the pre-release model under that same code name. So if you still have that in your config, you can put it back into the config.
Okay.
Alexander says you need to update the Codex app. Alexander, if you're here and you want to come on the stream, we would love to have you on. Just DM me, and we will get you on, and you can talk with me and Simon. Would love to have you on what you got.
I ran brew upgrade Codex like 10 minutes ago, and it didn't work. I just ran it again, and I got a new version. So maybe it was taking a little while to roll out. Model. No, oh, there it is. I've got it finally. Okay. I am up and running. Because yeah, didn't want to write about it until I knew people could actually use it.
That is incredible customer responsiveness, customer service from Alexander from the OpenAI team. Alexander, thank you again. Come on the live stream. We're friendly. Katie's a little bit.
I'm here.
He can roast you a little bit, but the rest of us are friendly.
I would never roast someone for a live stream. I'm like, this is the first time I've ever live streamed, so I'm terrified, and I would never roast somebody else.
Come on the live stream, buddy. Let's go. That's interesting. So you use Buddy. I use Dude. I'm a big Dude guy with Claude and ChatGPT.
I saw that inside Discord when you were trying to get your little bot to help the other night. And you're like, no, dude.
It's like a weird thing. Like, this is one of the things that happens with clause is we have clause that are in the Discord now, and then you're prompting in public, which you just did, Katie, for like 17,000 people on this live stream. But like normally, prompting is like a private thing, private relationship with your Claude. And so I was saying dude, and I was like, should I be saying this in this Discord? And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to prompt as I do, because it's like an interesting feedback loop. If other people are like, I never use that, or you shouldn't say this for whatever reason. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Katie, I want to keep going with some of your writing, some of the writing testing. So we got it to be we got Opus 4.6 with style guide to be interesting by some buddy prompting. What else did you find?
What else did I find? I found again, like the iteration, the fact that it gives options without being asked to, I really like. I think that, just shows that it maybe from the memory it has and the context it has on who I am, was really it picked that up and like, okay, this is Katie. She writes this way, like she uses AI in this way. She likes to see options. So that was something that that worked really well. I guess we should look at Opus 4.5 just as a diff and
I would love to do that.
And see, because like that was the winner. So let me reshare my screen.
And actually, if you have the prompt, I know that OpenAI launched Codex saying that it was good at writing. We have not tried it for writing. And so if you have the prompt, I could run it in my Codex and we can see if we can see what we think.
The prompt is write a 1,500 word article based on this transcript.
Cool. Send me that. Send me that and the transcript.
Okay, I will DM you.
Sweet. And just so people are aware, we did not test Codex for writing specifically because Katie did not have access, and it was hard. It was just hard to get her access. And we didn't even honestly think about it until like yesterday or 2 days ago. But next time, Katie needs access.
Hey.
Katie needs access so we can do writing testing.
Okay, so here's the command. I just gave you the command, and then the transcript is just going to be a giant wall of text. So grab the command first, the prompt first.
Okay, got it.
And then here's the massive wall of text. Oh, it just...
Now the question is, which code base do I start this task on? I'll start it on the Every code base, so it has some context.
That's another thing that I realized that I can do now, just as a general point. This is again speaking mostly to Claude because that's where I do most of my writing. But like while we were writing this vibe check, and I needed to know the specifics of like how the Every bench or the LFG bench works, or what is this code, and like in general, I can just like pull the code base down, tell Claude Code to summarize it, and then I can like write about technical stuff. So just like as a general note on like how the progress of these models is unlocking new capabilities for knowledge workers. Like, I'm not a technical writer. I don't come from a background writing about technical topics. And now I totally can, partly because I've started coding myself a little bit. So I'm getting more fluent in the concepts, but also because I have, a technical co-writer in my terminal. It still doesn't, and that this is another thing that we found. Another thing that I will flag for 4.6 is that personally, I think it did a better job of explaining in human language. Like there were fewer points where I was like, okay, mom is not going to understand that than there were with 4.5. But this is something that's like an ongoing calibration of like, okay, like what's the best way to talk to this model to get it to check for the things that I want.
Yeah, that makes sense. Simon.
Can we share my screen?
Please.
So right here, I've managed to get the new Codex model in Codex CLI. to do me an SVG of a Pelican, we now have on the left, this is the Codex 5.3 Pelican riding a bicycle. On the right is the Opus 4.6 Pelican riding a bicycle.
Wow, interesting. Simon, what's your immediate vibe check? What's your taste test reaction?
I really like the Opus one. I like it much better. I like the treatment of the feathers. I think the bill is much more Pelican-like. Like, you can tell that both of them are meant to be pelicans riding bicycles, but although, I mean, the Codex one, the distinctive feature of the Pelican is the pouch. And that pouch, the pouch from Opus is just a much better pouch. Also, bicycle-wise, neither of them nailed the bicycle. It's quite rare. Like, try drawing a bicycle yourself with a pencil, and you'll probably forget how the frame looks. I feel like the Opus one, that it's got more spokes. The bicycle frame is slightly closer. The Codex both of them managed to put the Pelican's feet on the pedals, which is always something I look out for. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I feel like this is a very strong victory for Opus in the Pelican on a bicycle benchmark.
Very interesting. Not surprising, given the knock on Codex is usually its sort of creativity and aesthetic judgment is not as good, and it's much better at like more technical, like deep tasks like that. How does it compare to Codex 5.2 if you did that?
Do I have a Codex 5.2? I think I do.
Or any other Codex model would be good.
Codex 5.2, it's definitely better. Like, Codex 5.2 kind of scrambled the thing. It did decide that pelicans like sandy environments, which is an interesting choice. Yeah, GPT 5.2. Again, the GPT models haven't been doing great on this benchmark recently. They really do need to train for the benchmark. So yeah, that's Codex 5.2. This is Codex 5.3. I think the Codex 5.3 is less scrambled. Like, I don't know what's going on with the handlebars there, and the bicycle's a little bit flattened. So it's definitely a better result than Codex 5.2. It's Opus is almost setting a new level for this benchmark now.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Opus is setting a new standard for the Pelican on a bicycle benchmark. If you want more Pelicans on a bicycle, you should really check out Simon's blog. It's simonwillison.net. You should also check out Every.to. Every is the only subscription that you need to stay at the edge of AI. We do ideas, apps, and training. On the ideas side, we do day zero vibe checks when we have when new models come out. I'm going to just screen share so you can see. We do vibe checks like this. So we just published this today. This is our detailed, in-depth review of GPT 5.3 Codex versus Opus 4.6. We've got a really, really great detailed head-to-head benchmarking. We've got a review of Opus 4.6 itself over here. And then we've got a really good 5.3 review as well. Oh, actually, no, it looks like it got cut off. We got to fix that. But lots of really good stuff happening on Every.to. That's the ideas side of Every. We also have apps. So on Every, we build our own apps. We have Monologue, Sparkle, Cora, and Spiral. We build them for ourselves and then release them to the audience. We also do training. We have an open claw camp coming up tomorrow for Every subscribers. We have over 1,000 people who are going to be attending our lobster boil to learn how to use their claw, learn how to make it better. So go to every.to/subscribe and get on the edge. Now, I am extremely pleased to add to the stage the one and only Kieran Klassen. Kieran, how are you?
Hey, how are you? Can you all hear me?
What is that background? Where are you?
At home. Sitting outside. Sorry, New York.
You have a beautiful view. I was there recently. It's amazing.
We did pizzas and chilled outside, then needed to escape the cold for a little bit.
I did. I absolutely did. Kieran is an excellent chef. Kieran is also the father of compound engineering. Our engineering philosophy. We'll put the link to the compound engineering plugin in the chat. I just feel like you and Simon need to kind of go off because I feel like there's a lot to do, a lot to stay. But before we do that, Kieran, give us your vibe check on these models. What are you thinking? What are you feeling?
Yeah, this is really cool. Like, when do you get a day where you actually compare the two best models together? Like, that's really unique. So I think that's really cool. And what surprised me is, like, I've been using them both. They're both very good. They're both very similar. Like, I've been running them on design, on like complex issues and problems. Like, they all work well. I think really where it's very different though is is like the vision. So it's not even what's there today a little bit, but it's how we are going to work in the future. And I think Anthropic and OpenAI are very different. And we already, like Simon, you were talking about with Dan already, like the queuing the messages versus like it just doing sub agents not there until like now recently. And I think that's the cool, like that's the big difference. And my take so far is, so also just to note, Swarms, Agent Swarms is also released with 4.6 in Claude Code, which
Wait, it's released? I didn't realize that.
it's released. Yes, I so we had early access to that as well. They never let us know they would release it today, but like the big story there is Anthropic has a vision on how to build with AI that's way further than OpenAI as of now. And that comes with like it going deeper in research. It's spawning multiple sub agents. Like they're already thinking in swarms and they're prepping us for swarms, and swarms are actually here today. And why that is important is like the models are both very good, but clearly we're not going to do like give a problem and say, okay, solve this problem, make the code. Like the future is bigger. It's like I have an issue and then that issue will be broken down and analyzed and worked on. Like there's a whole orchestration of things happening there. And I think that Anthropic is a little bit further with that. Like I've been asking for sub agents for, I don't know, 6 months to OpenAI. It's just in an experimental version. I said like it's just a blocker for me to use Codex because it's just so freaking slow to run my compound engineering flow on Codex because it just takes half an hour. And if I do it with Anthropic, it takes 5 minutes because they just paralyze things. And this is what I've seen with swarms now as well. Like I ran the LFG command we talked about, traditional flow took 20 minutes to run, beginning to end. And with the swarms enabled, it took 5 minutes. And I think that's a big difference. And I think that's that's super helpful. Like I'm a little bit skeptical about like, hey, swarms, it's like this new thing. Everyone is raving about it. Is it actually useful? But like in practice now, using it for like 2 weeks or so, it's just speeding up things that I already do. So it's actually an extension of what we already do if you are leaning into this like parallelized world and really maximizing the deep research and really maximizing tokens. It's not easy on tokens. It's going to use a lot of tokens, but that's not the point because I always used a lot of tokens because the more tokens you use, the better results you get. So I think my larger thinking here is like the models both are very good. Anthropic is leaning into like towards the agent orchestration end, and OpenAI is doing less of that. And I do think that Anthropic has a little bit of an edge there in like the larger vision. So that's kind of the take I have so far.
I think that's a great take. Simon, have you played around with swarms? Do you have any thoughts on swarms and sort of the agent orchestration stuff that Kieran is excited about?
I haven't explored those yet. I spent some time talking to Wilson Lin, who did the Fast Render project. I did a like 45-minute YouTube conversation with him, and they were very excited about swarms for generating 1.6 million lines of Rust with 2,000 parallel agents. The problem was that it turns out you can build a web browser in Rust with 20,000 lines of code that's just as good. So I feel like their work was interesting as an exploration of coordinating agents, but they bizarrely it didn't really demonstrate agents building something you couldn't have built or swarms building something without them. So yeah, I don't know, my exploration's been much more around the just the straight up sub agents patterns, which I love, right? But it's so much easier to reason about just 2 or 3 of these running than saying, okay, we've got 100 of these things and they're all going off and working together. I think it's a very interesting open area of research, figuring out how to make the most of that.
Well, Simon, I just saw you're going to have to run, but thank you so much for joining the stream. You've been here for almost 2 hours. It's been incredible to get to hang out with you. If people want to go see what you write and see what you do, where can they find you?
Yeah, it's all on simonwillison.net. I'm also Simon Wilson.net on Blue Sky, and I'm Simon W on Twitter and in GitHub, and I'm in many different places, but my site is the main place to follow along. There's and I've got an email newsletter you can subscribe to there as well.
Awesome, Simon. Excited to do this more with you.
Yeah, this is really fun. Enjoy the rest of your launch day.
Thank you. All right, Kieran. Let's go back to swarms. What are you? How are you like? How does swarms? Oh, we should. I just got a nice note from our producer saying that it is hydration time. So, if you're here, it's really important that you know to stay hydrated. It's hydration is the key to staying at the edge of AI. Katie, that is not hydration. That does not count.
Cheers.
Katie, you're muted. Hydration is, if it's liquid, it counts. But keep yourself and keep your agent liquid cooled. Stay on the edge with us. Okay, let's go back to orchestration and swarms. So tell me about, like, actually, can you demo some swarms for us? Because like I feel like most people probably have not seen agent swarms.
Yeah. Let's do it. So yeah, like so when I hear new things like this, it's like, yeah, I'm a little bit skeptical. Is this actually useful? Is this something we want to use? So yeah, so here, can you see my screen now?
Not yet, but we will in a second.
Just let me know.
It's up.
Okay, cool. So here I'm in the LFG bench repository, and I just told it to run my new command, the slfg from the compound engineering, which is like a swarm LFG version. And it was around 8 times faster with the same quality score. And I think if that's true, that's great. So let's run some things. Let's open Cora here, and let's see slfg. So slfg is a new LFG command, a variant enabled for swarms. And basically, what you do here is you give it a
let's fucking swarm.
Yeah, I'll push it. Version 31 in a bit. So let's see. A feature we're going to add. Okay, let's just do something, and then we'll see what it will do. Okay, I want a referral system where maybe it suggests my best friends and say, hey, maybe you want to invite these because you email with them a lot. Just use the currently already existing invite system and just build something to go viral, make it really good, make it slap. Okay, so we're in Cora, which is my product that I'm building at Every. And this is kind of funny. Obviously, we're just going to see what's happening, and hopefully it's doing everything correctly. So what this does, it's first going to go into research mode. And the research mode, it's going to make a list of everything we need to do, and it's going to create like a graph. So it says, hey, we can start implementing things only when it's needed. So let's see. Like, this is also very new. I pushed this like 2 hours ago. So we'll see, and maybe we can improve it even a little bit. But you can see there are different agents now being spawned. And also this looked different at different times with the lead.
What are the different agents? Where do I see them?
Yeah, so currently, so the top part of this is actually less swarmy, because I feel the swarms are best in work being done. Yeah, because here it's more about iteration. Because if you like do like 10 simultaneous research and then you need to bring it together, it's kind of hard. It's better to do research and then refine it. And like there's like in the planning phase, I feel swarms are less effective. At least
Did you tell it not to swarm as much in the planning phase? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I do. So I'm like, hey, like I'm trying to find this balance. It's still new. It's just released, and I've been testing out many things. So like, give me like we'll get there, but like the general ideas I think is very strong in like implementation, because it's very clear what the plan is, what needs to be done, what is blocked by what, and you can just say, okay, just like get 100 developers do this the most effective way possible. So like it's strong there. That's what I already know, and the rest I'm still exploring. So sometimes it doesn't, like I don't really understand if I'm in swarm mode. So let me just see. Hey, are we in swarm mode? Is there a team lead? And can the team lead just be an observer? So don't use the team lead to implement anything. So this is one of the things. You can go in this mode where there's a team lead that is not actually doing work, which is nice for token usage, because it's just coordinating. And I think you can also tap into it. Maybe if you go to plan mode or something like that. But you can feel like the feel I get here is like, hey, I have this, it's doing things, it's working on these tasks. It's like it feels just more like I can coordinate things and things are happening, and it's just picking up things whenever it needs. And this is something you talked about with like queuing the messages. That feels different with Codex still. And I think I don't even know if the swarms are actually working now. I think it will work in a bit when we go into the actually work mode, and maybe now it says, hey, okay, let's.
Can I ask a question about just swarms and parallelization in general? How does it handle things when there are like dependencies, like one thing depends on the thing before it having worked correctly or gone right, and the swarms are all off, presumably doing their own different stuff? Like, how are they coordinating stuff like that?
Let's go into so it tries to figure that out. So there is a way to mark that, so you can see it's blocked by number 2, and I don't know how they do it, but like I guess you need a plan to like implement it or something like that. So you can steer towards it, and it's very important to have this dependency graph, because if you go hard on parallelization, you want to make sure like there's no mess
this is
being left behind.
Well, I just want to just interrupt really quick. This is something that we've been talking about actually on this stream, which is the difference between OpenAI models and Anthropic models that I think is important. You said, let's get into swarm. The model said, got it. Let me finish the plan quickly, and then we'll swarm it out with parallel agents for implementation. My experience so far, like OpenAI implemented the ability to talk to a model as it's running, but my experience with it so far in GPT-5.3 Codex is it would never say, got it, let me just finish what I'm doing and then I'll get to this. It's just like, cool, I'll do it right now. It's almost like you just like interrupted the conversation and redirected it. And I think this these ergonomics are much, much, much better for this kind of work. Is like, I can just say some stuff and I know it'll deal with it when it thinks it's appropriate, rather than it just like completely diverting what it's doing.
Yeah, and that's really the strength. And I think actually it's my design that it's not in swarm mode yet, because I haven't seen the value of being in swarm mode at this point. And I think that's a strength as well, where like it understands when to use swarm mode versus not. It's not like swarm mode is enabled, suddenly everything will be swarm mode. So, okay, so it is done with this. Also, it's interesting because it used the internal plan mode. I need to tweak a little bit. Like planning now is taking over my compound engineering planning, because I don't know, the system prompt changed, but that's fine. We'll clear, so it will compact. Ideally, you don't need to do this, and it's just bypass permissions on. This is just kinks worked out now, but hopefully now it will. Live demo. And this is also like compound engineering. Like we're changing, like we're trying to use everything that Anthropic is building, and they're like learning from us, and they're like, oh, let's put that in, and then I need to then remove it from compound engineering again, and it's kind of cool. So let's see if it's going to go into swarm mode here.
So someone said, as far as I know, swarm modes is a setting that needs to be turned on, or otherwise you just get subagents. I assume you have that setting turned on, but I just want to make sure.
I don't know. I had it on for 2 weeks, but I don't know if they changed anything in this release. Maybe they changed something in the release that I now need to toggle on. I don't know. They've not communicated anything about it, and I asked about them yesterday, but I haven't heard. So I don't know. Maybe I need to enable it, but then I need to see how to enable it. But it worked yesterday. And this morning actually, because the LFG bench ran 8 times faster. So let's see. Do you have swarm mode on? Do I need to enable anything? Are the tools available? Live demos. but like, it's not about this working. It's about us trying to figure out where this is going to work mostly. Like, I'm going to use this all swarm mode. Okay, well, it's like, and also the cool part, like, it doesn't really matter if swarm mode is on or not here, because it works both ways. It's just slower. Like, I think that's the big difference between swarm mode on or off, and it's not on. So apologies for this demo not working. I think I need to enable it now somewhere. But the thing is, it works both ways, and it actually it has the same quality of output. So I don't think swarms in this case will give a better output. It will just be faster, and that is super handy to have something just work faster, because like I was testing 4.6, it felt slower than 4.5, and Codex felt faster. And like I have a positive feeling of working faster iteration with Codex, because that is very important to me. Like a quicker iteration means better output. So I think just the speed will already add a lot of value. And to flip it the other way, you can also like just do like crazy stuff where you say, hey, can you do 100 implementations, and then like have them battle it out and then see like whoever wins. And like, I've not gone into any of those, but like from a first step, just making things more parallel and the orchestration around it, I think it's great. Like, next, I think I want to experiment more with those things, like bigger features. How crazy can you go with a build? Can you do like an entire app, or like, can you do an iOS app plus a backend plus this, and just like do everything in one go, like bigger things. And I think, like there it can be very helpful, because you can have agents message each other. You can say, hey, the iOS agent says, hey, I need an endpoint, this doesn't work. And then the specialist on the back end will pick it up and will like start implementing and ping it back. So I see those being super interesting as well. Yeah.
That's very cool. So I have been on this stream for 2 hours, which is slightly less than the amount of sleep I got last night. So I'm going to step out for like 5 minutes. I got to get some coffee and just like stretch, and I'm getting on a plane in like a few hours. So I got to make sure I'm packed. But we've got Katie, we've got Kieran, and now we've got Austin, who's our head of growth. They're gonna be really good company for you guys. I'm gonna be listening while I'm out. I'm just gonna get some coffee and I'll be back. But take it away, guys.
Great. I'm also going to start my LFG web server, just to show you some ABC D things next to each other, which are interesting. So this is not live yet for everyone, but it will be soon. So localhost, let's see.
Actually, okay. I couldn't leave without saying one thing. If you are on the Every website, Every.to, we've got 3 incredible vibe checks that we spent like the last week putting together for you for each of these models. One head-to-head, one in detail and then one in detail on each model. You should go check them out. And there's a slight bug on the site right now where one of them is getting cut off. So if you are having that problem, we are deploying a fix, and it will be ready for you to it will be ready for you to read in like 3 to 5 minutes is what I'm told. But you should really go check out our website, Every.to. I'm going to just share my screen real quick while I'm here. I cannot help myself. Oops, this is not my right screen. Okay, cool. Okay, this is Every. Every is the only subscription that you need to stay at the edge of AI. It's Every.to. We do ideas, apps, and training on the ideas side. Look at all these ideas here. Each one of these are ideas. When new models come out, when new products come out, we test them thoroughly. See, this thing is getting cut off, but usually this is like a really big. Let me show you in private browser. This is a really big, really meaty article that has things like whether we use a model day to day and what our headline findings are and all that kind of. It's like really, really big, awesome vibe checks that we do on the day that new models come out, so you know what to use and what not to use. We also have lots of other stuff about how we use AI in our work and in our lives. Another thing that we do with ideas, apps, and trainings as part of the subscription, we also have a fleet of apps that we've built. We have Monologue, Sparkle, Quora, Spiral. Kieran built Quora, which is an AI system for email. We've got Monologue, which you've seen us use all the time on the stream for the last couple hours, which is a speech-to-text app. All of these things come with the Every subscription, so you pay one price and you get access to all of these apps. And we also do trainings. So we do lots of live streams. Our next live stream is Open Claw Camp, which is happening tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern. I'll be there. A bunch of other people will be there. There's about 1,000 RCPs already. It's every paid subscribers only. We're going to have Nat Eliason come to show you how his claw works. I'll demo my claw. We'll have a bunch of other people doing their claws. So come to the Lobster Boil. See its Lobster Boil theme. It's going to be super fun. But that's what you get when you subscribe to Every. Check it out, Every.to. Fix is coming for the vibe check. And now I actually really have to go hydrate and drink some coffee and like eat some food because I haven't eaten yet today. So
there we go. Get out of here.
Bye.
See you then. All right, Kieran, you want me to share your screen again? We can pick up the workflow where you left off.
Yeah, I'm doing a little fix here. Yeah, okay. Yes, let's see if this works.
Cool.
So I have this idea of the LFG bench. So Dan introduces it a little bit. So first of all, I have the compound engineering plugin, which is basically like me trying to build with AI and like adding a lot of workflows around it, which is and the full workflow is planning, reviewing, implementing, then reviewing that again, then testing all of that, and then documenting, compounding, and that's basically everything in one prompt. And we kicked one off, and I think it's interesting to do that. Like before, I was always like, let me make a plan first, review the plan manually, and I still do that. But I do think it's interesting to see, like, what if we don't? What if we just let it rip and see what comes out? Like, it's a good way to see if something works or not. And I think if new models come out, like we always do the same things. We just go in and try things and see what comes out. And I'm like, it can be easier. And maybe I just run this. And this is another way also to see if my plugin is actually good. And I added support for open code and for codecs. So, and obviously it's a Claude Code plugin. But there's experimental support for those as well. And they use their own harness. So like it should be the best there. It's just like not all have sub-agents, which they do have now. But it's not completely feature parity. But like we try to get it as much as we can. And let's see. Yeah, so I have 4 that I started. This I vibe coded on our hackathon day when we were in Panama. Like this is a first version, but the idea is we have a benchmark that we can just run, and basically it's saying, it has a prompt, and what it's testing here, like React architecture, like landing pages are like they need to look good, all of that stuff. So let's see. So this was named Fudge before. So let's see. This is a normal. Let's see. GPT. And maybe Flash, which is interesting, and Opus. Let's do Opus. Let's see if hopefully this works. Okay, this doesn't work here. Well, it doesn't matter. Let me just have my agent fix it. This page doesn't work. Can you make sure it renders? It might actually render here. Let me try one thing. It might render here. So I have this set up through Tmux on Mac Mini somewhere. So let's see if I just go directly here, if this works.
Kieran, for anyone just joining, can you voice over what you're trying to do right now?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, okay. So I'll just share my screen here, because here I have it working. So what I'm sharing here is I have a benchmark that created, run the same prompt using my plugin. And it says create a landing page for a marketing website. And
Yeah, we're
I will
still
share.
seeing the last screen.
I
Yeah,
know. I'm going to
just making sure.
share the right screen. And I'm going to put those models next to each other. And it's interesting to just put things next to each other, because there are things you notice that you might miss otherwise. So, and that's the whole point of this benchmark. It's not to be like hard number driven. It's also just to get a feel for like, how does it do? Okay, so there we go. Can you see this?
While this is coming, I'll pull it up. I will just say the fix is out for all 3 pages on the website. Trevor, thank you so much for flagging it. If anyone goes and is looking to get the full review of the new Codex and Opus releases, just go to Every.to. You'll see the full thing. So thank you so much, Trevor. Especially thank you for flagging it. Kieran, we can see your full screen now. Talk us through it.
Sweet. Okay, so basically, I said, hey, do this. Models here you can see is Haiku, Opus, so 4 or 5. This is the GPT-5.3 and 4.6. And it's interesting, like Haiku clearly is the cheapest and the quickest, but also like it has the AI glow and all of that. And this is not like this is a one shot, but it's using the compound engineering flow. So there are skills that push it to get better design and all of that. So you can see that like these 3 on the right, they look pretty good, I think. And they're interesting. So you can see like design is pretty good. And you can see then also like details like, hey, here there's some interesting lines. So like it's an interesting design. And here in the 4.5, you can see that didn't really exist. So you can see like the line of voice, like it thinks a little bit, like it feels a little bit more refined. So Codex is actually pretty good at design here. I think the 4.6 is also a little bit better at design than 4.5. Like this is not bad, but like these icons are not really in style. Like this here feels more in style. It does have it here. So I think so 4.6, it has more detail. Like it feels more refined, especially with drawing. And that can mean like if it just thinks longer, that it just writes more SVG or thinks more about what it should be. But like general vibes are good. I think the 4.6 just feels like really refined. Like I like Codex as well in certain things. I just don't like the icons here as much, but I do like the details in here as well with these lines on the back and stuff like that. So you can see it's again like a step change, like from Haiku, which is the oldest here, Opus, which is like yesterday's best, and now with Codex and with 5.3 and 4.6. It's pretty cool. So that's one thing. Any questions or any comments on this one so far?
Katie, what do you think? You're muted, Katie.
Yeah, I'm a writer, so I was just like looking at the copy, trying to
Yeah.
decide what copy I thought was best.
Yeah. What do you think? Like if I just scroll.
Well, I like where ideas find their flow better than these are all the same headlines. Oh, they went away now.
Yeah, it might be in the prompt where this is like drift, but it does do a little bit different here, right? It chooses different headers, because here it says where IDs find their flow is like this the top one, and here it's so it does organize it a little bit different. So this is a fictional app for writing for writers. Okay, let's see. This is another one which I like. Let's see if this works first quickly. Compare selected. Okay, these work. Let's do. Okay, so what models? I want the.
Hey Kieran,
yeah.
we gotta make sure that when we're demoing this, I just got some messages. When we're demoing this, we're just check the private chat in the stream.
Okay.
But I'm back.
Okay.
I got some coffee.
I still want to know what 5.3 did for writing.
Oh, that's a great idea. Okay, so if you just got here, we've got 22,000 people here. This is by far our biggest stream ever. We love that. We love to have you here. We've been we do vibe checks as one of the things we do at Every.to, the only subscription you need to stay at the edge of AI. One of the things that, and I just hit the hydrate button by accident, but you should stay hydrated. One of the things that we do, we do a lot of coding testing, and that's one of the things we've been doing. And we also do a lot of writing testing because we're writers. And we did a ton of tests. Katie did a ton of writing testing on Opus 4.6, but we did not have access to Codex 5.3 for writing. We only tested it for coding. So now we're testing it for writing. And I kicked off a writing task a little while ago, and now you're going to see the world premiere of our vibe check of Codex 5.3 for writing, and we'll react together. We'll do a joint vibe check, the first ever joint vibe check live. Here we go. Okay, so here's what we did. I said, Katie's test prompt, write a 1,500-word article. Someone's typing really loud. Who's typing? That's off. Okay. Write a 1,500-word article based on this transcript, and then it's a transcript of a meeting that we had, I believe, in Panama. Is that right, Katie?
It's the Agent Native camp.
Oh, it's okay. We did a camp. We do all these camps. We have OpenClaw camp coming up tomorrow. We had an Agent Native camp a couple weeks ago. So it's a transcript of a camp we did. Write an article based on that. That's something that we do a lot anyway. Here we go. Agent Native is not a feature. It's a new software stack. Immediate AI no.
Immediately no. Go to jail.
Do not do that. At 5 minutes past the hour, Agent Native Camp began the way the best internet workshops often do. Waiting music, a live chat filling up, and a host asking everyone to share what they were confused about. Not great. Again, it's the same kind of like thing where it's like, okay, so it's that long sentence and then that opening mattered. Like what opening mattered? And also it's being framed as like, this is interesting, but it's actually not interesting. And those are the kind of tells where I'm like, okay, it's X, it's not Y. We're saying words breathlessly as if this is interesting, but it's not. And then that 3-sentence follow-up is extreme. That doesn't actually connect to this word is an extreme tell for AI writing. So to be honest, I am not particularly impressed. It got the core principles, which is nice. I think the structure of this is decent. I don't know, Katie, what do you think?
Honestly, I was kind of worried when you started reading that you were just reading off my Google Doc because that's almost the same that 5.2 did.
Really?
5.2 was on a recent live stream. Dan Shipper opened Agent Native Camp the way you would open any internet gathering. A little awkward small talk, a request for people to introduce themselves in the chat, and crucially, patented waiting music. So
awkward small talk.
Yeah, who would ever say that about one of the beginnings of our streams?
We're not awkward at all. We have cool waiting music, and we have high energy and cool waiting music. That's what I would say.
Well, then that's an edit that I could give. We should say this is one-shotted. Like this is not giving any direction, saying this part doesn't work, change this. Like that's a lot of the work of AI writing. Is like I compare it to sculpting instead of carpentering. Or carpentering, you're building things, and like sculpting, you get a big block of something, and then you chisel it down to the shape you want it. So it's honestly great if the structure is there, and then you can go into the syntax and make it work for you. But it's much better if it's the closer it is to what's good to you, the better. So we still want it the one shot to give us a good foundation.
Got it. And just so you know, Kieran disappeared because the internet went out. So he's no longer living at the edge. He's back in the Stone Age. Okay. So, well, I'm actually curious, are there other things on the writing front that you feel like you want to share, Katie?
We could just live edit like the piece or just see what it's like in like an actual chat process. But
I think that's cool. Yeah. One of the things that you said that you liked about Opus 4.6 is as a model, it was like more fluid for this type of thing. Can you talk about that and or demo something to show us what you mean?
Yeah, so I think when I say fluid, what I'm talking about is what we often talk about as steerability. So just or responsiveness, like how well the writer, I guess it is a writer, the model takes direction. So like if I go into, okay, I'm going to share my screen. Which Claude? This Claude. So this is just the same thing. And I'm just going to say, I have some edits for you on this draft. I'd like you to throw the draft up as an artifact so we can look at it together. And then I'll give you the edits one at a time. Sound good? And then it's going to pick that up. Oh, I have extended thinking on, but I almost always have extended thinking on. I'm going to switch that though, because it's going to take too long that's just not as exciting to watch as the model thinking. So it's going to share the compounding engineer draft as an artifact for collaborative editing, and then we'll see what it does. But yeah, it's just so like, I think this version of Opus to me is faster than 4.5, which I really, for a long time I was on the fence about whether to even use Opus for writing because Sonnet was so fluid and responsive. And I just thought that was better. And then I was eventually won over by feeling like Opus had better sentence structure and was also better at writing technical content, as I was saying earlier, is something that I, is a flat edge that I'm looking to round out with support from my AI buddies. So getting a leg up on explaining some of that technical stuff and it being able to handle that is really awesome. This is taking way longer than it should have. So I'm going to change tactics. We don't need a
I think it's fine to let it run. You could open up a new tab or something, but I'm sort of curious what it does.
Retry. Well, now I killed it. So
you killed it. Okay.
Well, let's just try again. Source code.
Interesting.
Oh, live demos, everyone. This is me. Okay.
Even in the future.
We're professionals.
While Katie is doing this, Adam asked, is this show being hosted anywhere other than X? And the answer is absolutely it is. It's actually on our website, Every.to. And I'll put the link in the chat for everybody. If you go to Every, you're going to see we have our full vibe check. So full written vibe check of Codex versus Opus. We have it head-to-head. We have everything head-to-head. We also have detailed, in-depth reviews of each specific model for people that care about one specific model or not. Go there. Where there's also a stream. So this is being streamed on that site through YouTube. So you can check it on Every website, and you can also check it out on YouTube. Once again, Every is the only subscription you need to stay at the edge of AI. And at Every, in order to stay at the edge of AI, we highly recommend that you stay hydrated. It's really important if you want to be at the edge to be drinking a lot of water every day. Make sure that you're hydrated and make sure that your agent is liquid cooled. Katie, back to you.
Yeah, so I think what would be cool to look at actually is I just because I'm a glutton for punishment, I pulled the version of this draft that I actually wrote myself with AI, but not one-shotted. And now we're going to see what Opus 4.6 thinks of a draft. And so we're going to see about its writing taste. Because I thought that would be cool. Because this is something that I do a lot, is like I write something and then I drop it into a project that has the style guides for the particular publication I'm working on, because I work across a lot of publications, right? What do you think of this draft? I'm just going to ask for its overall impressions, and we'll see. Does it pick up the style guide? Does it automatically invoke the skills? evaluating draft strengths and editorial quality. So it looks like maybe it won't pull the skills. Maybe it will. We'll see what it does. Like, I love watching Chain of Thought because it's just like supervising your direct report and making sure they're taking the right steps. Scrutinizing technical clarity and stylistic consistency issues. Oh boy. That's the really hard part, is when you give something to an AI editor and you're really proud of it, and you can tell from the chain of thought that it doesn't like it. The piece is fighting itself. It wants to be three things at once: a concept definition essay, what is compounding engineering, a technical walkthrough, what is compounding engineering? Okay, so it's not even picking up what the main point of the piece is then, because it's about agent native, not here. This piece is about agent native architectures, not compound. What am I typing for? But we can talk about compound engineering as relevant. Yeah, so that's interesting that it just picked up on something that isn't what we want to be talking about. And that's why, you got to keep an eye on the outputs and make sure that you're catching this stuff. The core concept is strong and timely now. The opening. So I should show you this is my version. Dan, don't tell me if this is not good. I don't want to know. When you're building agent native software, it's only a matter of time before it does something you didn't tell it to. Sometimes that's great. Other times that's terrifying. That's the shape that I decided to go to, just with the shape of the material that I got, how it was here's what's awesome about agent native architecture. Here's what you want to write up to look out for. And I tried to go with terrifying just to amp up the drama a little bit. Whether that is good or not is a matter of taste, but what the AI thinks.
Hey, Katie, I need to just interrupt you really quick because we have a very, very special guest. I'm going to remove your screen share and welcome Sam Altman to the stage. Sam, hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Really good. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me on short notice.
Yeah, absolutely. So
How's
we're
the
just
live
going.
testing
It's been going quite good. If you have not seen it, we published a vibe check on Codex. I'm going to share my screen and show it to you. On the Every website, we have Codex versus Opus 4.6. Can you see my screen? Here we go. I'd really love. We've been talking a lot about okay, what are we seeing? So I'd love to share with you what we're seeing, and I would love to hear that. What your sort of vision is for this. But the main take that we're seeing right now is that the models are converging a bit. We feel like Codex is got a little bit more opusy. It's faster. It feels friendlier. It feels like something you might use more day to day, whereas before it was really for truly senior engineers who had gnarly production tasks. And we also think Opus got a little bit more Codexy. It's actually much better at these long horizon gnarly tasks that Codex had been really good at. And Opus also got a little bit slower, which is kind of interesting. When we sort of look at the models together, if you really put a gun to our head, we say they're mostly similar, but if you really put a gun to our head, our experience so far is that Opus has the higher ceiling. It did a couple of things that we've never seen a coding model do before, but it's got a lot of variance. So it does actually some dumb shit. Codex 5.3, on the other hand, is really smart with low variance, but it's not going to reach the heights of it's not going to reach the heights of Opus 4.6, and it's not going to do dumb shit in the way.
It's interesting. That's kind of a reversal of what people said about the previous model. So I guess maybe there is more convergence going on than we thought. We definitely took the feedback on personality and speed this time. We will push more on raw intelligence, but it seemed like there was such an overhang on that relative to people's just frustrations around usability that we wanted to go hard there.
And it also seems like you're kind of pushing into the Codex app itself. Feels like maybe it's not just for senior engineers anymore, and that's the way that you're positioning it too. And it seems like there's this race happening where what you and Anthropic have figured out is if you build a really great general purpose coding agent, it's very good for all forms of knowledge work. Tell me about that.
I definitely think we're going to see a move to everybody using coding models, even if they're not aware they are, to do a lot of other kind of impressive knowledge work. And there'll be great ways to integrate that.
Yeah. One of the things I'm curious, from your perspective, it seemed like OpenAI's strategy at first, or for the last couple of years, has been vibe coding and most work happens in ChatGPT, and then serious engineering work happens in Codex, and that split seems to be changing. Can you tell me about that?
Oh, I think that will converge for sure. I think that people will they will have like one AI. Sometimes they're doing not that serious work, sometimes extremely serious work, but it'll have all their memory, all their context, be connected to their company as necessary. And you will just sort of like, I need to work on a big new scientific discovery, or I need to like draft this email, and that use my computer, do whatever you can. I think that'll converge.
What are you using Codex for day to day if you are using it?
I built a little app I had always wanted, like a sort of like a magic to-do list where you put things in and it automatically tries to get stuff done for you or ask for help where it needs it. And I'm loving it. And I loved building it. I love using it. Very fun.
How long did it take? What stack did you use?
Well, it keeps it's not done. Like that's another sort of interesting thing about this. Like a first version was done like in a few hours, but it gets better every day. And in that crazy meta thing, like I put things into the to-do list about how I want to improve the app. So that's actually been one of my kind of like interesting takeaways, is how much the nature of software is changing when you make it so low friction.
Tell me more about that. Like what does that mean concretely, that the nature of software is changing?
I mean, there's a bunch of things that are changing, but to push more in this one direction, the fact that it all feels continuous and it never is done. And every time you have a new idea, you try it and sometimes you revert it quickly. But the friction is so low that as I'm using something, if there's even for like a one-off task, I'm like, oh, it'd be nice if it would just do this thing. It's just done. It just happens.
Is that changing at all how you're building software internally at OpenAI? And if so, how?
5.3 Codex was the first time a model that we was significantly reliant on the model and the tools to get it built. There are amazing things happening now with upcoming versions of coding models inside of OpenAI. And I mean, this is going to be how everyone creates software, and shame on us if we don't adopt it the first and the best.
Got it.
I got to drop in a couple of minutes, unfortunately.
I know you do. So if you need to drop, feel free to. I really appreciate you coming on. Would love to have you on next time you drop a new model. Thank you.
That'd be great. And I'll go dig into the comparison. I'm very interested to see.
That sounds great. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
All right. Always fun when Sam Altman drops into your stream. That doesn't happen very often. Thank you so much. Dario, if you're around, we're available. Hit us up. Pretty fun. What do you guys think? Kieran, Katie, what do you think of that conversation?
I think something changed within OpenAI where they get it now. Like software development wise, like they get it. Like they have the bug of like using Codex to build Codex. Like that story, I think it's happening, which makes me very happy because it means they feel certain pains building software in a new way. And I love that. So like I think they will go very fast and they will iterate very quickly, and lots of new things will come out of this. That's kind of the feel I have here.
I agree. What do you think, Katie?
I'm just honestly really excited to try Codex as a baby vibe coder, because it is kind of bringing things out of the extreme senior software engineering where there's no way I'd be able to do anything. Like I want to get my hands dirty and see what it notices in some of the code bases I have from my way too many vibe code projects, and just start cross-pollinating between the two models, because they are good at like different things and have different strengths, and like, toggling back and forth between ChatGPT and Claude can be productive sometimes, just even in the chat experiences. So it's really cool. I'm really excited to see how like the OpenAI ecosystem from a code perspective like makes me a stronger coder as well.
100%. Austin, I see you popped in. What's on your mind?
I just had my first experience in the last hour doing what Katie said. I have like my like personal project for testing this stuff is this like independent movie theater app where like it's very tough. It's like a Fandango for independent movie theaters, and I just did I built it in Claude Code, I just sent it to Codex 5.3 and I was like, audit this for me, let me know everything that's wrong with it and what I should do next. And I've been texting people being like, oh shit, this is actually like really cool and really good, as someone who I like did not think would potentially move over from Claude Code, which was like, as another like baby coder like Katie, the like thing that feels like, okay, it was like a big hump to get over just to use Claude Code to build something. And I'd heard you all talk about, you know, sending things back and forth. And I was like, that makes no sense to me. But I was like, let me try this. I also like the GUI in the Codex app that's setting up like folders and conversation chats, which is like really, really cool.
Do you have it set up? Like, are you able to demo the every?
Yeah. I'll share my screen here.
And while he gets set up, Austin joined as head of growth, I guess in December-ish, and over the break, just like got super Claude Code pilled and just came back. And I don't know if this man is doing anything other than using Claude Code all day. And maybe now he'll be using Codex. We'll see. But I think it has really transformed the way he does growth. And now we have all these like bots that are in our Discord, which is what we use for our internal messaging, where it's like, here's our growth stats for the day. And I'm sure there's going to be like a growth report coming out about this stream. And he's got a whole growth OS that he's put together where we can all query stuff and ask questions about how things are going. And Victor, who's also on the growth team, like built this whole cohort tool where we can automatically build cohorts and send emails to them and all that kind of stuff. So it's just like, it has totally changed everything about the way that we do growth internally at Every, and it's all because of Claude Code and Opus. But now looks like Austin's using Codex. Awesome.
I'm starting to use Codex. So I have two projects inside of Codex now running on 5.3. One is this movie app, which I'll show in a second. And then one is the Montaigne Every Growth OS. And most of the work has been like, audit this thing happening over here. That's been like a good entry point for me. And that's really just how I started this thing. I was surprised as someone who's like really only used Claude Code inside of the terminal or in Warp at how fast Codex was. I was like, oh, I'm used to like stepping away and taking time to do other stuff. And it pretty quickly got me this like snapshot of what this thing is, the high risk bugs, and started building a roadmap for me of what to do. I'll share my screen for some context next. I'll move the screen over to like what this app actually is so people can see it. Okay, let's see here. Where is it? Cool. Okay. So this is Ludlow. Ludlow is Fandango for independent movie theaters, which like refuse to get on Fandango because of like fees that they will take from it. And so it's a very simple like scraper of these theaters in New York and LA where you can search by film. The thing that I like the best is that you can connect your Letterboxd watch list. So if there's movies you want to see, you can quickly find them. Getting the scrapers to work and pull these movie titles has been like incredibly problematic for me. And so that has actually been the part that's been fun of moving it between Codex and Claude Code to ask it like, hey, do you have better ways than what's currently being done using the other model to find the film? Because it might say that the moment is playing and it's the Charlie XCX film that's out right now. But one model might like identify it as the moment, the movie that played in like 1973.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I've definitely found that too, is like just being able to trade off. Two heads are better than one. Like each model has their own strengths, and like just threading between them, they solve problems that other models, like the other model is blind to, and I do that all the time.
But also there's one thing, like if you use ChatGPT, like more people have ChatGPT subscriptions, like go use Codex. You already pay for it, like utilize it. So like it's also like making it easier for people to enter or try it out. Like it won't give you a major edge if you just use one over the other. They're both very good, especially if you're a vibe coder and want to like do things. They're very capable, and just use your subscription. That's also a very nice one to have now.
Awesome. Katie, any thoughts? Anything you wanna add? Anything you're thinking about?
I'm thinking about when there will be a harness for writing that lets you be able to swap between Anthropic and ChatGPT, because
Spiral.
when
And that leads me to my next really important point. If you're here, you should know we are all from Every. Every is the only subscription that you need to stay at the edge of AI. I'm going to figure out how to share my screen so I can show you a little bit about what that looks like. Here we go, sharing screen, blah, 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 cool. So this is Every. All of us are from Every, as I said. Every is the only subscription you need to stay at the edge of AI. We do ideas, apps, and training. On the ideas side, these are all ideas. These are all our ideas. Today, Codex and Opus 4.6 came out. We got them early, and we did a really great in-depth review of them. So you should check them out. If you care about what's coming out, you want to stay on the edge, and you're feeling like a little bit, oh my God, like there's so much stuff happening, and I want to keep up, but I don't know exactly what to do. We've got you covered. All you have to do is subscribe to Every. The day things drop, we can tell you what to pay attention to and what not to pay attention to. We tell you what we use. We do the reach test. So like I'm about 50-50 Opus versus Codex. Kieran is about 80-20. Naveen is 80-20 the other way. We also tell you why they're good and who they're good for, all that kind of stuff. Much better than benchmarks, much better than mainstream news. That's the idea side of it. We also have apps, and that's what reminded me to talk to you about this. We have one of our apps is called Spiral. Spiral is a writing assistant with taste. It actually blends the best of both Claude models and ChatGPT models to help you do great writing with everything that we know about the writing that we do at Every. We also have a bunch of other apps. We also have Cora, which is the app that Kieran builds. Cora is incredible. It is an AI email assistant. And this is what my email looks like with Cora. I have a system over here. I've got my daily brief over here. It's like pretty fucking sick. If you're looking at your dumb Gmail screen or like bland Outlook screen, you should definitely check this out. And it's getting better all the time. It's going to be agent native soon. We also have Sparkle. We have Monologue, which is a speech to text app. This is what we've been using to talk here so that you can see Monologue is awesome. All of this comes with the Every subscription and stuff we build for ourselves and then we give to you. In addition to that, we have events. OpenClaw Camp is coming up tomorrow. It's a live streamed event. We're going to talk about OpenClaw. It's a lobster boil about it. We have 1,000 subscribers already registered, so you should definitely come. Every.to/subscribe to get all this. One other thing that I should say. We've been really thinking a lot, and I'm going to say this, and it's going to make Katie and Kieran and Austin smile. But we've been thinking a lot about the future of software here. Sam Altman was on the stream earlier, in case you missed it. And when he was on the stream, he was talking about how software changes in the age of AI. We think that agent native is one of the key ways that software is going to change in the age of AI. And we built a full guide for what agent native is and how to make agent native software. And that's on the Every website, every.to/guide/agent-native. And it's about a world where software is really just an agent at its core. It's not like a list of rules like traditional software is. You should definitely check this out. And that's one of the things we do at Every. And I'm going to get off my soapbox now. Kieran, why should people subscribe to Every?
I think it's really interesting. I think maybe it's the only place where we build software and we get early access to models and we write about them and have like all these things, like they're loops, like they're all working together. Like I get early access to model, build a feature, learn from it. Like we're really grounding in like actually work. So if you are a builder, if you want to know how it's actually done, not like some kind of influencer take or whatever, like, which is interesting and cool, but like we're actually using this day to day and that's just very unique. So I'm very grateful for them and everyone creating this because it's very special and it feels very, very insane to work with talent like all these people around me, which is great. Like we're all lifting each other up and like iterating. And Sam was also saying like it's about the iteration and like it's never done. Like that's what we feel as like a company. And I think yeah, it's really cool capturing it, and you feel that when you join, like you feel the energy, the vibes, like definitely.
Thank you. And Katie, why should people not subscribe to Every?
They should not subscribe to Every if they are AI phobes who are never going to touch AI because we're just not the place for you. There are places for you on the internet. Every is not one of them. However, if you are if you're on the fence and you're curious about AI but a little scared of it, I highly encourage you to check Every out because we do encompass a pretty wide range of experience levels and fluencies. We have practitioners in a lot of different areas, not just software engineering and writing, but design and also operations folks. I would put Austin in that category, or our head of consulting, Natalia, who with our applied AI engineer Natasha built an entire project manager in 2 weeks. So if you're curious about how AI applies in particular to work, but you don't know where to start, I think Every is a great place to start.
I mean, I think the real answer for not subscribing, the only reason is if you hate hydration. Those are the only people who don't belong.
If you like being dehydrated,
hydration haters,
get out. We're highly hydrated. Everyone's got their water bottle. Naveen, you just joined. Where's your water bottle? See?
Okay, I to be honest, I was just like deep in my vibe coding, and then I saw Sam came and went, and I'm like, what? How did I miss that? That's crazy.
he's asking where the monologue OS launches.
Yeah, we pitched a monologue. Don't worry, he's going to be on the beta list. Yeah.
Wow, wow, that's a crazy thing. So just want to join in and just see.
Well, hopefully Dario will be here soon. Dario, if you're listening,
I don't want to miss that.
Just DM me. Well, Naveen, tell us how the vibe code is going. What were you working on? Which model were you using? And what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I am right now working on syncing dictionary and modes across Mac, iOS, so that people can move between devices. That's like one of the top requested features, and it's actually a tough one to implement. So that's why I like taking my time. So yesterday, what I did is actually, I think Dan was also there. So I created a plan for using Opus and also using Codex. I really like the Codex solution, but not the plan. How but coming to Opus, I really loved how thorough the plan is, the way it's structured. It when I was reading that plan, I was reading. It felt like reading a novel. So it's really easy to read. And then so what I did is I just asked Opus, oh, look at Codex solution, and then just update your plan. And then it gave me this big plan. Now what I did is I asked Opus to actually implement the plan, and it's not great.
Ooh.
At least with the iOS and Mac app side. So then I asked Codex to implement the plan. It one-shotted it. So no build errors, nothing. It's working really well. So right now I'm just working on that. So
Naveen is clearly a fan here, and I love that.
Codex. Monologue is built all with Codex. You should check it out.
Yeah.
Monologue.to. That's fascinating.
Somehow I'm not sure. Maybe Opus guys don't use Swift and Codex people use Swift. My understanding is Codex, the ChatGPT Mac app, is actually built by Swift, using Swift, but not the Cloud Code. Cloud Code is an Electron-based app. So
that's interesting. Yeah, I pretty much use Codex for proof, the Markdown editor I've been building. I've not really used 4.6 for proof yet. I've done a couple little things here and there, but I haven't built any big features, so I don't really know.
Yeah. So I just missed the main part.
You missed.
I'm
real work, Naveen.
What
question did you have for Sam, Naveen?
Yeah, what would you ask him?
No questions. Just want to
wave.
Just wave. Hi Sam. That's it.
Yeah, I obviously he doesn't know all the details, but I would love someone from OpenAI on at some point, to talk about why they're like a little bit behind on like the agent orchestration side, and why they're so like there's clearly a reason they're not jumping into it, because like Anthropic had this like a year ago almost. Like they had it, so they could have just copied it, but they didn't. And I'm just very curious to hear what the reasoning was there, and what they're like what do they think, or maybe they say like that didn't work. So I would love anyone from OpenAI listening. I would love to like dive into that, because I think that will be an insane unlock for Codex.
I agree. If you're from OpenAI, DM me. We are actually going to be, I'll be interviewing the OpenAI team, the Codex team next week, I believe on Tuesday. And there will be a episode of our podcast, AI and I, released probably the week after, in the coming weeks. So you should stay tuned for that if you're interested in that. I will say, like, having talked to them a lot over the like years, my sense was internally, if you're at OpenAI and you're like, this is not true, please like jump in the chat and tell me. So I'm just like,
you're wrong. Yeah.
I'm going off right now, so I could be wrong. But I think that there was, I felt this sense that the agent needs to be like really locked down, and really like it's a tool where it does exactly what you tell it to do, and it just has this very the fact that Codex is a senior engineer has that vibe is, I think, a reflection of it was built for people that wanted to use it that way and that think that way themselves. And therefore, the idea of like swarms of agents felt like they were not getting there yet. It was like, we just want to make this like power tool that does exactly what we say and is always right. And I just think that that's a bit of a different vibe than Boris from Anthropic just being like, I don't know, it'd be kind of cool to just like run this thing on my computer and see what happens, you know? So I think it took them a while to catch up, because my perception is they were looking at Claude Code and being like, yeah, this isn't for serious engineering, like, and this is not secure. And then over the last like 4 or 5 months, they've been like, oh, this is actually
maybe
like,
there is something to it.
Yeah. Deal. Yeah.
And it's the story also of the models converging a little bit. So they're like learning from each other, because clearly like there is a point to like Naveen loves Codex, and he's like the most brilliant IT engineering, whatever. Like I'm a musician. So like it makes sense. I vibe more with one versus the other, and them learning from each other and pushing is great. Yeah.
Naveen went to the MIT of India, which millions of people take a test. I think like 2 million people, right, Naveen?
Yeah, around 2 million.
2 million people. Kieran's internet probably just went out again. 2 million people take a test to get into this school, and only like a couple thousand people make it. And Naveen is one of those couple thousand people, and he loves Codex. And Kieran's he's just a musician. So Kieran is incredibly talented. He's a musician. He's a baker. He's got that kind of like multi-dimensional brain that we love at Every. And it's just like, it's two different sorts of vibes and two different sorts of use cases. I think Kieran also uses Codex, but only for like one of like those times where he's like, I just need a lot of precision. And I think, Naveen, you're similar. Like you use Claude Code, but only in those times where you're like, I need a little bit more creativity and like YOLO-ness, right? Yeah.
So I think I remember using actually Opus when vibe coding the initial version of iOS, right? Because you don't know, you are prototyping, you are experimenting what the app can be, what the product can be. Then Opus 4.5 or now 4.6 is like really good at vibing, and like me just giving one line and then it will just run with it. But Codex is like, then yeah, don't know. You need to be much more precise with Codex. But now I'm not sure. Like I need because with 4.6 Opus, it's also like thinking really hard. It's also like trying to solve problems. So like I think that might not be true. Being the senior engineer versus like the previous analogies might be now becoming slowly not being true. But
That's
still Opus needs to like get better at Swift. Yeah.
Katie.
I was just going to say, like, the difference between senior engineer and everyone else is something that Sam said, that Sam nodded at. So Sam would approve. I will go out on a limb and say.
Sam approved. All right. So I have a flight to catch. This stream has been going on for 3 hours. It has been incredible. We have had so much fun. We've explored Opus 4.6. We've explored GPT 5.3. We've explored writing. We've explored coding. We had Sam Altman on. It's been the best, like truly awesome. If you want more of this, we are going to be back for paid subscribers tomorrow for OpenClaw Camp, where we're going to talk about OpenClaw, demo what we do, demo our best use cases, demo what not to do, and we'll help you get it set up. So if you've been looking at wanting to try OpenClaw, we will take you through how to set it up. You should also subscribe to Every. Every is the only subscription that you need to stay at the edge of AI. We do ideas, apps, and training. If you like this, go to Every. We have a ton of more stuff there, Every.to. We have a full breakdown of both of these models from our extensive hands-on testing. We get all the models early. We try them ourselves for the stuff that we build. We build software ourselves. We also write about it. And we also do training. So that's all I got. Austin, close us out. Anything that I missed, anything that you want the world to know? We've got 26,000 people on this stream. You've got 20 seconds, go.
If you want to get an OpenClaw set up in 90 minutes, subscribe to Every and tune in to the session tomorrow. We never stop.
Fuck yeah. Katie, final thoughts for the crew here.
If you're curious about writing in AI, there is a writing camp coming up later this month. So that is another reason to subscribe to Every.
Sweet. Naveen, what was your favorite thing about going to the MIT of India?
Favorite thing, just people. It's a ton of
People.
smart people. But if you want to subscribe to Every, like you can get all the apps for free. Like you can try Monologue to talk with Claude Code, Codex. I think talking with it more than typing, you get better results. So use Monologue. You can get it from Every.to.
Awesome. Thank you everybody on this stream for joining. We'd love to see you in our Discord. We'd love to see you again soon. And remember, stay hydrated.